Hi, folks. Larry Rolla here. Oh, let me bring my friends on. Greg, Trade Martin.
All right, Larry.
Hi, guys. We're
I'm
going
here.
to be expecting probably O'Donnell might pop up and our friend Manny. So it should be an interesting night.
Yeah.
What were you guys talking about before
And Ronnie Pierce. Well, I'll get back to, but let me advertise this one. Get the plug in. Ronnie Pierce definitely will be on next Thursday.
Okay.
He was going to come tonight, but he said he had to speak to somebody. He had to pick somebody up at the airport, so he'll do it next Thursday. And I told him he better be prepared to be around for a while. I'll tell you a quick story to start it off. Ronnie said, I said, it's going to be O'Donnell and I, What? He said, he can talk more than you can. Well, I said, I kind of come first over, and then I get tired. I said, O'Donnell keeps creeping along. He said, this story, he said, one time they landed in Lexington like at 3 a.m. So Ronnie was going to get a room. Billy said, no. And Ronnie was going for the Triple Crown with American Winner. So he told O'Donnell said, no, come and stay with me. So this is 3 o'clock in the morning. Ronnie said he wanted to get a good rest, try and win the Triple Crown. But he said the sun was coming up and O'Donnell was still talking. So he said it didn't matter. He said American Winner was no good that day. So he didn't win the Triple Crown. But it was the way he told the story. Because Ronnie, as people will see next week, he has a funny affect to him, So yeah, we'll have a few laughs. That's for sure.
That's
Did
good.
O'Donnell
So
fix the voice?
anyway, what's that?
O'Donnell fix the voice?
Yes, he did.
Okay.
I told him today. I called him. I said, "Now, do you have that?" He said, "I got to." He said, "It's my fault. I got it fixed." Because he's very excited. Ronnie, I'll know what to say to the two of them. We'll have a few laughs, but anyway, a trade I called because I for those of you out there, we talk a lot about harness racing, and I've always thought it's the people that are interesting. You get a trade, and here he is in the twilight years. He's still recording songs, and he was involved in so many. And we've kind of only scratched the surface, really. So I said, I'll get Trade on. Then I called Manny to see. I left him a text if he'd come. And, we should have a good night tonight, and we'll cut it off at 10 o'clock, as I say. That's too much. Nobody can stay up that late. So, Trade, how you doing?
Let me tell you something about Trade Martin.
Doing good.
Trade Martin,
Yeah.
he's an extremely successful, talented guy. But you'll never know. You have to drag it out of him of all the deeds that he's done and all he has accomplished. He'll never talk about it. You got to drag. It's almost like he's ashamed of the accomplishments that he did and what he did. And
Well, I don't want. Larry, I don't like to sound like I'm bragging about things. I just, it's. I feel like I'm putting somebody down if I'm talking about myself.
Well, Trade, if you were in your heyday today, and I'm not saying you're not, by the way, you would be because of all of the channels, all the streaming services need material. So, like I was just telling you a story, George Strait, I think they said he has 60 some number ones, and probably Dean Dillon with George, with his son Bubba, with Hank Cochran, wrote probably half of them or more. So now he's of interest, and he goes on the road and does his own show, the same as Jimmy Webb does. I mean, you never saw him all the years when we had Galveston, Wichita lineman, and by the time I get to Phoenix, MacArthur Park, now you see, him out on the road. So it's kind of interesting. So if you were around doing it, as they say, in your prime today, you wouldn't have to, because people would seek you out, kind of like I have. I hope I have anyway, because I find it interesting. And my friends do too. My friends say that those guys you got, trades always got a good story to tell. And talk about, I was saying earlier about O'Donnell and I talk along. What about trade, Larry? You said what would he open at 9 o'clock and he wouldn't take a break till midnight? Wasn't he go to the bathroom or something?
Yeah, and the break would be 5 minutes, and he'd come back and play till 3 a.m.
Yeah, because I just didn't like to stay up. I didn't like to stay up the stage. In fact, a couple of times, because I had a couple of girls in the audience that I was dating,
Yeah.
I didn't want to get off at all, and I would stay on all night because I didn't want to get involved.
Oh, you mean what you're saying is that you had two different girls that you were dating,
maybe
neither
3.
one knew the other one, and they were both in the audience, so you had to stay on stage. Oh, you dirty dog.
Yeah, that's it. But you know what? This week or next week, I'm going to record this because I can't find Benny. I felt so bad about Benny and his son wanted to hear this so badly. And I had Kenny McNutt had the tape. I can't find the tape, but it's on the warm summer's evening on a train bound for Goshen. I met a train driver. We were both too tired to sleep. So we took turns staring out the window at the darkness till boredom overtook us and he began to speak. I'm talking about Harry Pinall.
Yeah.
He said, son, I've made a life training, driving horses, scoring past the toll board under the lights night after night. And if you don't mind me saying, I heard you want to train and drive, boy. Well, if you want to train and drive, you got to learn to do it right. You got to know how to check them, know how to hook them, know how to leave the gate and come from behind. Remember not to pull too early unless you got some cover. With some stock and a little luck, you'll pick up a check almost every time. That's if you're racing where they belong, boy. Anyway, it goes on and on.
Well, you can re-record that again. What do you need?
What?
What do you need? What is it that you need? You say you can't find. Well, you got to record it again.
I'm gonna re-record it mainly because you guys. I want you to have it. I'll do it.
Probably you'll do it better.
I don't know if I did a really good version of it, and then they used it at Joe DeFrank's testimonial dinner way before he died. They played it there, and I said, "Great job, Joe." I added some stuff to it for Joe DeFrank, but anyway, Kenny McNutt used to be crazy about it, and Benny Webster used to love it. I remember.
Would Joe DeFrank go and see you play in the day?
I don't think he ever came to the club. No. Most of the guys, the drivers came to the club, but Ray Remini used to say, I can't come to the club to see you anymore, man, because he said, when I leave, I can't even walk. He used to drink too much, and
you got to be careful, especially now, huh?
Yeah, Jesus.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt about it. But that basically is the melody of The Gambler, huh?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Now,
it's a parody. It's a parody on The Gambler. Yeah.
Yeah. What's interesting, Dean Dillon was talking about, and I told you this before, about the oceanfront property, and the end of the chorus. And if you'll buy that, I'll throw the Golden Gate Bridge in free. And he said, that's what changed it. We said that like if people don't know what the Golden Gate is, and he said it sounded so much better. If you'll buy that, I'll throw the Golden Gate in free. And he was talking about another song, and he told Hank Cochran, and he said, Hank, here's the problem with that. And he started with the melody. He said, that's crazy for crying crazy because I'm crazy.
Yeah.
And anyway, so he said that Willie will get upset. And Hank had a kind of a high pitch where he said, Willie won't mind, because in the day they wanted to give Hank Cochran, I forget which, it was RCA or MC or whoever it was in the day. I don't know. That was before my time. They wanted to raise them $25,000, which should be $500 a week. And he said to them, no, I got this friend, Willie Nelson, give him the draw and the 25,000. And as you know, the rest is history. So yeah, I don't think Willie would buy it. Yeah, Hank gave him the big break, huh?
Yeah.
But it's amazing those songwriters that we're talking about. Dean Dillon said he and Hank Cochran, they were out on a boat for the better part of 4 years writing songs. Yeah. They said they'd come in some, but most of the time, yeah, they flew to the Bahamas and they'd be in a boat. Because they said they seem to be more creative elsewhere, not in an office in Nashville, huh?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You know, because I write when I'm fishing. Sometimes if I go fishing, I got a pad with me and sometimes a tape recorder, a little tape recorder, and I'll think of some things while I'm waiting for a bite on my fishing line. You know, where it's quiet. You know, nobody's around and everything, and you can then you get the fresh air. And you can think really well then, you know. In the office, it's, you know, listen, I write at home a lot, in my studio a lot, but I like writing outside or in different situations, you know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, probably it gives you some feel too, huh?
Yeah. It gives you
but they had some great lines. They were talking about so-and-so was going through a divorce, and they said, oh, one album we can make now. Because he said you could really bring guys out because they really did feel the hurt and everything of everything was going on. But now everything's so changed. And I want to ask you, okay, now how do you monetize your writing? If you write a song, put it out on how do you do that? What happens? It's not like the record comes out and we go to the record store and buy it.
No, it's true because now you just get different little royalty checks. Like I get little royalty checks, and my wife laughs. She goes, "Well, this is $2.73, and this one is $4.50 from the little streaming thing from Pandora, Spotify, all the little streaming things. They pay. TikTok pays a lot. I always get a good amount. I get I'm talking about $10 or $12, but you get a little here, a little there, and it adds up after a while, you know.
So TikTok, huh?
Well, yeah, TikTok pays a lot.
And you release the entire song on, excuse me.
No, they pick it up on their own. I don't have to release a song to TikTok. They, for some reason, if somebody uses my song on TikTok, I mean, I don't even know it, but somebody may use it and they put it on TikTok and it gets a lot of views and it gets monetized, you know, and I don't make a lot of money on it, but they monetize it. Like Pelletron uses my song, a couple of my songs, and I get a check from them once in a while, you know, but they're all little royalty things. But years ago, the funny thing was, you really almost every artist will complain to you and tell you they never got paid from the record company because the record company would be funding your promotions, your promotions and everything, and he used to deduct all that stuff from it, and you would never really see a big royalty check unless you had, you know, 50 albums out like BB King or a big major hit where you sold 2 or 3 million records and everybody knew it, and even if you sold 2 or 3 million records, you didn't really get that much from it, you know. I mean, they told me I sold 250,000 records on my chart record that I had on Coed Records back in 1962.
Right.
And I never saw a penny from it in royalties because they used all the money in promotion and they take money for the recording session, whatever I recorded, that comes off. Everything is deducted. I don't even remember seeing a royalty statement from them. I probably did, but I don't remember.
Unless I imagine what happens today if you're a major star, if you're who could we say, if you're Taylor Swift or something, the Spotify's of the world probably give her a huge chunk just to release it with them. Probably, is that what happens? Would you think?
Well, I don't know how that works really because I'm not in that. I'm not in that category. But she makes a lot of money on her personal appearances. The bottom line is the personal appearances where everybody makes money, and the record is your vehicle to get promoted as a known artist, as a known name. So the record company, and I've had a couple of record companies, and I still do. I know about the record companies. We get the people, and we put the record out, and we try to get the record on a lot of stations so everybody hears it around the country and around the world. And then the artist goes out. The record company doesn't make any money from the artist, and they're not supposed to, because there's like a little rule there where the record company is not supposed to make money from the artist's appearances. The artist goes out and makes a lot of money with appearances, and the record company had just promoted that artist so they will get a major audience, a big audience to see them, and then the rest is that's how it works.
And I know it's changed today because of the money is in the touring now, that where before the tour was used to promote the record sales, huh?
And that's true too, but now the promotion.
No doubt, I'm sure. Even in the George Jones, early days, that merchandise they would sell that. I remember any show at the so the T-shirts and the CDs. And
that's a big deal.
But in back, I always wondered how supposedly did the record company have to disclose to somebody that they played a certain song 7 times one day?
Well, the radio
did they do
station.
that?
Okay, the radio station is, let's say, policed by BMI, Broadcast Music, and which is a collection agency, and also ASCAP, and it's one or two others. Yeah, and the radio station has a log, and they have to log what they've played, and the radio station pays
whatever
2 cents, 2.5 cents every time they play a record, and that's your performances, and your performance royalties is probably the biggest royalty you get. The performance royalties on a record is what adds up, because you're talking about thousands of stations who have to log your song, and when it's a hit, it gets logged a lot of times, and they have to pay to BMI or ASCAP, or I think SongCan is another one, and then BMI. I'm listed with BMI, but then BMI will send me a check from my performances.
Right. I get that.
Yeah. And the BMI also monitors nightclubs and restaurants and stuff like that. In fact, I was at the restaurant
a
couple of years. A couple of years ago. They get a certain amount of money from a restaurant or some kind of a venue
for the live music.
For the live music that they play, that are BMI listed songs, and they have to pay. And the guy comes, they used to come into the mob joints, Larry, and then the guy used to say, "Get lost, you," and they wouldn't go back because they were afraid of the mob guys. Yeah. But the other guys,
I never knew that. So you're saying that is, let's say, Diamond Springs, when Danny LeMago played there and you came in and you joined in, every song that you guys sang, the club owner would have to pay a royalty?
No. They do it like as an overall basis. They BMI will rate your place and say, well, they're using generally 10 of our songs every night, and you're going to have to pay us $150 a month in order to use those songs. But it could be 100 songs, but they just charge you for a certain amount of songs because they want to get a general amount of money from you. So then you can do whatever you want after that. But that's what they do. They charge.
I never knew that.
Yeah,
I never knew that. I always wondered why they could demonetize me if I play, like that time I played one of your songs.
Yeah,
they pay me for the podcast because I infringed on your copyright. And but what about down the street? There's a guy singing. He sings the same song that I played here. I get charged, and he don't. But what you're saying is that any nightclub or club that has any kind of entertainment, they basically charge him a flat fee, say $100 a month, just to have entertainment singing.
right.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they solicit the clubs, and they're not lucky in all the clubs because a lot of them are mob guys. They said, yeah, they get lost, and they keep on trying, but they don't get paid. They don't pay off.
I didn't know that. Wow.
But I get it now then. So because I always know it's BMI and ASCAP. You'd see, yeah.
Yeah, and there's another one, Songcan. I think there's another.
As in the trotter too.
Yeah,
he's a pretty good trotter. Or he was a Songcan, yeah. Some people like him in a pedigree. They say he had a good gait, huh? That's what they claim. I'm just going to have a look here at the questions, and I asked this Larry Cox a couple of weeks ago about the death of a racehorse on my iPhone. More I despise Bobby Baggers. Bob is a quarter horse trainer, no business thoroughbreds. Larry, could you kind of send us a note to, I'll address that if I knew what you mean. I'd appreciate that. Everybody else, hello, God bless a lot of our, we get some really nice, loyal people that come to see us. So that's good. I'm just watching for that too. But yeah, Larry, if you could, I would address that. I don't know what to say about it though.
Let me see if I got the
racehorse. But a quarter horse train.
Let me see.
What?
Wait a minute.
There used to be a guy at. I knew him a little bit too. Baggett at Freehold. He used to race.
Well, that's what I thought when I heard that. But I know it's not him. It's the first thing I thought of, Bobby Baggett.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, right.
Well, and there were senior and junior.
Yeah. He had some health problems or something. I don't know.
What's that?
I don't know if he's still with us. He had some health problems back.
Bob Senior isn't. Bob Junior is. Jack Baggett Jr. is not with us. He died young. He had health problems. Yeah.
All right. What this guy's talking about is this book right here, and this book right here. This girl that wrote it, Katie. I read it. I didn't read it. I have the audio. It's an unbelievable book. She did some research, and she really
but Larry just said this is that he's actually referring to Bob Baffert. That's why he's the famous
Baffert
was a quarter horse trainer.
Look, she comes down pretty hard.
I'm a poor one to ask about that. Yeah, but I'll tell you what. I have to disclose I'm a bad one to ask about that because in 1997 I met Dr. Vince Baker, who was veterinarian still at Santa Anita, Del Mar, and so forth, and his father Bart before that. I media trained him in Phoenix, and we got to be friends. And he invited me to the Kentucky Derby in 1998, and real quiet won for Bob Baffert. they thought Indian Charlie was the favorite, but typical of a stable entry, the one who ended up winning was the lesser light. So, and I could literally call Bob Baffert. I noticed yesterday in the B's he shows up first. So, yeah, again, I'd have to take a pass on that, Larry. I'm sorry about that. I really would. I wouldn't want to say one way or the other. So I think remain neutral. Have I seen him a lot accused? Absolutely. Did he do some things wrong? And I actually told him in how he communicated. Yeah, but he kind of did what when you have money you can do. The lawyers just kept denying it, and it went on for years. Kept paying the lawyers, and now he's good to go again. But in fairness to him as well, I've always thought that guys that do get on their way to the top, they take the chances. But once they get there, what really helps is they're now past top horses, top ones.
Right, right.
That's the thing. Unfortunately, I've always said that. Even with, I've had arguably the greatest. To me, the greatest 3-year-old trotter. Yeah, I can't say greatest age. You can't say because it's a subjective thing. It's not objective.
Yeah.
But never was given a horse with good form to train, where these guys get them from all over, and they're in form. They're maybe winning for a smaller trainer, or they start out in Ocala, say with the McCathan brothers. People have probably seen the video on American. What was it that won the Triple Crown? American. It'll come back to Magic. I'm thinking of all these things that I can't see. It's not American Freedom. That was a Standardbred. But anyway, he started out at the McCathan brothers in Ocala, because remember the Thoroughbreds, unlike the Standardbreds, and that's gotten to be a little bit like that. The Thoroughbreds are not allowed to go to the track until they're track safe, so they say. It's not like us, where where you go by the yearling, and the yearling goes to the training center with the trainer who will train them throughout the year. And remember, the training centers now are like racetracks. There's so many horses and so many barns and so many people there anyway. But what's interesting, is, and I just see this here about Baffert is cruel to racehorses. See, I never saw that. He had great help, Jimmy Barnes, stuff like that. So Larry, I apologize. I really don't know what to say because of
I'll say
I'll
say a couple of things about Bob Baffert and all the other top trainers that are in the thoroughbred industry.
Thank you, by the way, American Pharaoh. Thank you. Yeah, go ahead, Larry. Sorry.
Bob Baffert. Once you're on top, and this goes for any of them trainers that switch the leading trainer of the year award, it's just as hard to maintain that position as it is to get there. You're constantly being challenged by very eager and sharp and smart trainers who have extremely wealthy owners, some who are in the pharmaceutical business. And once you're in that business, you're getting information and a lot of stuff from all around the world, stuff that your leg could fall off and you'd never know it. And so and like I always said, everybody in any business, especially the horse business, any business really, is looking for an edge. And so once you're on top, you may have done some things that were borderline or cross the line of morality to get there. But once you get there, it's just as hard to maintain, maybe harder, because guys trying to get to your position are doing what you did to get there. So and they something new, all the time. Now the other side of the coin is that the rules now, because of HISA, is so strict, and they basically have to be strict, because the only way that they can control a situation that, in my opinion, is not controllable and not fixable, because you're one organization with maybe 80, 90 members that are trying to find out what the whole world is doing in the pharmaceutical business. And these wealthy owners, these wealthy trainers that have wealthy owners, that's their game now. And I don't know how to fix it. I had a conversation today with some very important people in the thoroughbred industry, and they're trying their best. And the best way that they could stop it immediately is slam the door on everything, and make it that if somebody smoked a joint in the barn area, that horse might can come up positive. Now that's an exaggeration, but that's how the system is now. They're checking for minute things that, and I basically said it, that I understand what you're doing, and I understand that you almost have to do it. Because it'll take you forever trying to eliminate or trying to find these drugs. So you have to eliminate it completely. But in the meantime, you're hurting the trainer, you're hurting the horse, and you're hurting the owner, because there is no reason why a horse after a race can't be given a shot of steroids to just help him recuperate in one day instead of 3 days or 4 days. And the Lasix is okay, but it dehydrates, and I can go on and on and on, which I did today. And I have to tell you, HISA is right on. HISA is on everything. They're very, very involved. They're getting a whole lot better and a whole lot more educated and a whole lot sharper. I'm not sure if they know how deep this can go as far as the drugs go. And a lot of trainers are getting bad raps for minute things that they could that these things can happen. Like Bob Baffert has a bad rap in this book, The Death of a Racehorse, because he has 75 horses die of heart attacks. Yep. Now I could give you 2 or 3 really good reasons why he should not be held accountable for any horse that has a heart attack in his control. Now, people will say I'm nuts, but I'm not nuts, because 99 9/10 of the heart attacks happen, and it only happens one way, because horses don't get heart attacks the same way humans get it. There's no clogged arteries. There's none of that. There's none of that stuff. The only way a horse can get a heart attack is from it's all heat related, and heat can't escape because of humidity. So to make it really short, it's heat and humidity that causes heat stress, heat stroke, fibrillation, and that's what in all these mixed signals. Once they get AFib and they get it at temperatures right around 105, it starts sending crazy signals to the heart, to the brain, to everything, and then the heart starts pumping erratically. They have to start pumping harder because it's all erratic, and before you know it, they get a heart attack. Now, what caused a heart attack? It could be any one of 4 or 5 different things. They don't even have it labeled as a heart attack anymore. They just label it as sudden death, and it's a major problem. And all the while, and for years, everybody blamed Baffert that he was giving him some kind of synthetic drug. Now, there are many, many drugs out there that will tax the heart to the breaking point. But I'm not convinced that all of his heart attacks were drug related. The worst thing in the world for a heart attack that causes it is high temperatures or medium temperatures and high humidity. Now, when is the humidity the highest? The humidity is the highest in the mornings, especially 4, 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, and that's the killer. High temperatures and high humidity is the killer. Now, they have a rule to protect the racehorse, even though it's very, very, very rarely used. When the combined number of the temperature and the humidity index, when that number, say the temperature is 80 degrees and the humidity is 75 degrees, that number comes to be 150 or 155. The number that they come up with through all testing and universities and vets and everything else is that combined number. If it reaches 130, they should cancel the races. So if the combined temperature is 80, if the temperature is 80 and the humidity is just say 80 to make it easy, and that's 160. That's 30 points higher when the right number is 130 or below. Now they're not going to if the temperature at 5 o'clock when say the Kentucky Derby is going to go off at 5 or 6 o'clock, and it's 85 degrees and the humidity is rising, they're not going to cancel the Kentucky Derby. So they race the Kentucky Derby. No. And the effects in some cases could be deadly. Now, a horse don't have to drop in a race or collapse after a race, but once that temperature gets there, it starts affecting the tissue around the brain. It starts affecting the kidneys. It starts affecting the lungs. It starts affecting everything, and it takes a long time for horses to recover from that kind of stuff. Now, what I created eliminates all of that, and that will all come out in a very short period of time, because I had a very good, in the last 3 days, we had 2 very, very good meetings that it looks like this thing is going to go, and that's going to stop. That's going to stop. There's roughly 40 horses a week that die nationwide. Every week, 40 horses. That's unbelievable.
Wow, it is.
And if you were to see some of the pictures and some of the videos that I have now, look, when a horse goes down on the racetrack, the first thing they do is they come out with these big barricades so you can't see what's going on. You can't see the horse. And nobody knows when a horse is going to go down. So there's very, very, very few videos of horses that are starting to suffer from heat exhaustion, heat stroke, wobbling, and everything else. And after and the ones that are taken, maybe they're taken by the racetrack, they're eliminated right away. You don't see them. But I have 15 or 20, and it's disgusting. It's just disgusting when you go and you see. When you see that's a horse that's suffering from an AFib situation, and I believe, right, he tried to get up and I think he lived, but there are many that die, and it's just. It's terrible to watch.
Yeah,
but a lot of the bad rap that's in this book about Baffert and many, many other trainers. Hey, look, between the top 10 trainers, there's very close to 500 horses, maybe more, that died of heart attacks. And up until I did my research, I believed it was all caused by drugs, because I know what drugs, what these heavy duty stimulants could do. I'm aware, And up until I start doing all my research, I now believe that many of these horses that died had nothing to do with drugs, had to do with heat, humidity, and core temperature in the horse's body. Now, don't forget this. There's a lot of research I did. I did research on 100 horses that were 100% fit and completely hydrated. Now, if you ask any vet in the world, any vet, any university, anywhere, what's the first thing that you would do to prevent a horse from heat stroke? The first thing that they would do, other than the weather, the first thing that they could do that's under their control is to completely hydrate a horse. That's the first thing that they would tell you, because a horse loses 4 gallons of sweat water in a 1 mile race. A horse's body is made up of 75% of water, of electrolytes and water. And if they lose 10% of that fluid, very, very bad things. All organs start to fail. Okay. Now, if you give a horse Lasix, they lose another 4 gallons of water. So that's almost 10%. At 10% of loss of liquid, a horse is in serious, serious trouble. So there's a whole combination of things that should be addressed. And that's why now I'm not taking Baffert's side, because for years I kept my mouth shut, but I said it has to be drugs. And I mentioned often, between the three of us here, we probably trained in the last 50 years well over 1,000 horses, 2,000 horses. And I guarantee you, I don't know for sure, but neither one of us, with 2,000 horses that we trained over 50 years, never had a heart attack. Okay?
That's correct.
Baffert had 75, and all the other trainers had 50, 70, 50, 60, even the top trainers. And
Larry,
now,
you know, of the 75,
yeah.
do you know how many did it in a race and how many did it in training? Because I see with them, a lot of their trouble happens when they're training them.
That's the other thing. That number is not even, from my understanding, is not even the horses that are dead or died, however, in the mornings. Now, just last week alone, 5 horses had to be euthanized at Belmont Park Training Track. Nobody knows that. Nobody knows about that.
Really?
Nobody knows how they die, why they died. It's not advertised. But I have to tell you, Eddie DeLauro, the guy that's on this show, he called up and he got a hold of Heisa. And Heisa now is down there investigating. How the hell do 5 horses in 1 week die because of track conditions or whatever? I don't know. I don't know the whole story. All I know is that it's getting crazy. And I know that what I created, and I'm very excited about it, and so are a lot of other people, including the person I spoke to today, which I won't mention the name, but a heavyweight person, in very, very involved in the thoroughbred business, is very, very, very excited about it. And now I have to change my attitude. That now I am convinced that core temperature in a horse and heat and weather is just as dangerous, if you allow them to race, as any drug or stimulant that you can give a horse with ordinary tests. But what they used to test for 40 years ago. 40 years ago, they tested for 7 things. That was it. And today they test for 100 things and they're still dying. And so I know that it's very hard to have a positive with all these synthesized drugs that are out there. It's very, very difficult. You'd probably have to spend $100,000 for each test to really catch everything. Naturally, they can't do that. And that's why I don't think they're ever going to solve the problem. But on the other hand, if half the deaths are caused by heat and heat stroke and AFib and everything else, half that problem is solved. So, it gives everybody a fighting chance, and maybe they will loosen up on some of these drugs that should be permitted to give to a horse after the race. And I made a suggestion today, even though nobody's going to do it, that if you're going to allow a horse to have Lasix and take the chance that 65% of horses given Lasix, 65 of the horses that die from heart attacks were Lasix horses. So you have 65% more of a chance of your horse having a heart event or a heat stroke or AFib event if you're on Lasix. But yet you demand that the vet gives it to them 3-4 hours before the race. And my suggestion is, if you're going to do that, also give them a milkshake, because a milkshake will not enhance any performance, but it eliminates the lactic acid that freezes the muscles and starts them losing action and slipping and sliding and everything else. And and that's what it can only help a horse. You got to do something to help the horse, because you slam the door on everything that can help a horse, and you can't stop these horses from. You can't say, well, the horse has a little swollen ankle and you're going to inject them, but you got to give them 15 or 30 days before you can work. That's idiotic and crazy. Now, it might be the best thing to do, but just like I mentioned today, in 1960, there was 2 veterinarians at Roosevelt Raceway. One was they were 3 really, Dr. Carter, Dr. Brennan, and Dr. Steele. Dr. Brennan had 90% of the customers at Roosevelt Raceway, 90% of the trainers that were under his care. But every time you go to him with the horse got a little swelling in the tendon, got a little this, got a little that, Dr. Brennan's treatment was, look, do yourself a favor and do the horse a favor, turn him out for 3 months. Well, you can't do that. You got owners you have to satisfy. Before you know it, you'll be turning out your whole stable. But then what happened was Dr. Steele came along. At the same time, they had an invention called cortisone. And Dr. Steele started injecting Stanley Dance's horses, 2-year-olds, 2 and 3-year-olds. They start injecting ankles and everything else. And these things race every 7 days. And they'd inject them on a Monday or Tuesday. On a Thursday, they might go a slow trip with them. On Saturday or Friday, they're into racing. These horses race 4 or 5 years, even though them guys didn't race them much after 4 or 5 years old.
Right.
And that was that. And what happened to Dr. Brennan, the conservative guy that did everything right and was 100% for the horse? He almost went out of business. He went from 90% of his customers down to basically maybe 10%. And who got them all? Dr. Steele. And that's the reality of horse racing. You can't do the right thing with a horse and still race him. It don't work in the game, because you be laying up, you be laying 90%. Hey, look, every horse that races is not 100% sound. It's what I call racehorse sound. They're sound enough to race, but every horse has a problem.
Absolutely.
It could also be an internal problem, bleeding. That's another major problem. Now, in the conversation I had today with this heavyweight, I told him, I says, I know that you can't just get rid of Lasix, but what I don't understand is why Heiser is paying $400,000 to a bunch of veterinarians to find out the effects of Lasix on a racehorse, when I could tell you in 3 minutes. And they says their answer was, well, it's basically written into the law or something. Whatever they said, they said. And look, I'm not looking to start an argument with them. I'm looking to get my thing sanctioned by them. So I can't argue with them. But when asked, and I was asked, I could give my opinion. And they know that Lasix is a detriment. They know that it does not solve the problem. They know that the problem could be solved, and Lasix could be eliminated. Now, it's true that there are some horses that bleed moderately, and Lasix does help today. But even them horses that bleed moderately, you could fix that, because the blood only comes from one place, unless a horse has a tumor or something wrong in the throat up high where there's an ulcer or something. But it comes from the lower lungs, that these minute little blood vessels, they break, and for maybe a year or 6 months, nobody even notices, because it don't come out of the nose, and back then especially, they didn't have They didn't have a scope that went deep into the lung. They didn't have a scope for that. So you never knew it. The only time you really say, yeah, this horse is a bleeder is when he bled out of the nose. But by then, 1/3 of the lungs are completely infected, loaded with broken blood vessels that never get a chance to heal, because every time they race or train, they give them Lasix. So, and the problem is never corrected. Now that problem could not easily be solved, but I mean a month on oxygen, or even in a hyperbaric chamber, which nobody's going to do because it's $300 an hour. But just do what I did when I got. Hey, look, nobody had a worse bleeder than me. I had Wildwood Jet. He bled when I bought him. I sent the groom for him from barn to barn, walking from barn to barn across. Well, it was probably a half a mile. He coming in with trickles of blood coming out of his nose, walking. Okay, and 3 months later, I went in the cane pace with no Lasix and never bled. Okay, so if I could do it with a massive bleeder, it could be done.
How'd you do it? Larry, how'd you do it? How did you do it?
Well, the first thing I did was dried up his lungs. And how did I dry up his lungs? I bought a big oxygen tank, and a big oxygen tank, and put him on pure oxygen for maybe 15 minutes a day, and that would dry up their lungs. Then I hooked it up. I made my own out of a little pail. I made my own nebulizer, and I had Dr. Nolan give me some antibiotics to put in it. And during that time, for the first 10 days, he got massive doses of antibiotics. So between the massive doses by antibiotics, drying out his lungs, then the antibiotics in the nebulizer and everything else, and then for the next 2 or 3 weeks, just take it easy with him. And naturally, if he was the kind of horse that really grabbed you and everything else, during that period of time, you'd have to keep him on a tranquilizer. But I was lucky enough that when I took all the rigging off Wildwood Jeb, he went from a pulling lunatic to a horse that went as long as you let him go a little bit faster. Some guys just want to jog a 5-minute mile. Well, sometimes, and they're leaning straight back and choking them to death, trying to go a 5-minute mile.
Good.
Go 3-minute miles. Just let them be comfortable and just start. Here's Manny on the thing now. Here's Manny. Let me put Manny on. Hi, Manny.
What's up, guys?
Hey, how are you?
One of my rants, so I'll stop. But anyway, Trey, that's how I did it. Not only that,
hey, look at her.
I'm going to tell you
Say hello.
Hi.
one more story.
Hi, how old are you?
Say hi to Larry. Say hi, Larry.
Hi, Larry.
Hi, sweetie. That's one beautiful kid.
How old is she?
How old are you?
10.
How old are you?
10.
Yeah, my granddaughter will be 10, I think, the couple of days.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
So what's going on, guys?
Let me finish
Well,
my
Larry,
story.
Finish your story, Larry.
Larry's on a rant? Okay.
Larry's
Sorry.
good, yeah.
I want to finish the story because I want Gregory Peck to say, every time you tell one of these stories, you wind
No,
up
I know the horse won. I know. The only time you lost is when you stiffed them. That's it. I know.
Right.
Every other time you won.
No, in reality, I probably had 5,000-10,000 drives. According to the records, I only won 500 races. So there were thousands of races I lost. But I'm going to tell you one other story, then I'm going to shut up. We're going to hook up with Manny. What happened to Manny?
He dropped off.
Man. All right, yeah. All right. Here's the story.
I'm here.
One day we went from Monticello. We had a horse racing at the Meadowlands. Charles Slutsky owned the horse. I had him. And, we went down, and who come down with us? It was a girl named Monica and Charles Slutsky and Ralph Arone, a trainer. And we went to the nightclub at the Holiday Inn, and they happened to have to eat, and they happened to have a gong show that night. So Ralph Arone entered the gong show. We thought it was a big joke. And he went up there and he sang. Now, Ralph Arone was Italian. He come from Italy.
Great guy.
He was a good guy.
He was over my house.
Sang well. Nobody knew he sang. He was like a singing bartender at one of the big nightclubs, a Marlboro nightclub in Yonkers. But anyway, he was a trainer and a driver, and he did a decent job. He was good. and he had a beautiful. His daughter was one of the most beautiful women in the world. She wind up marrying Steve Manzi and then died of cancer. But she was. But anyway, getting back to Ralph, so he enters the gong show, and he wins. He sings this Volare or something like that, one of them Italian, and he wins with a standing ovation. But before he went on, Slutsky says, "Are you kidding? You really going on?" He says, "Yeah." He said, "We'll have some fun." He says, and I'll probably win. And Slutsky says, "If you win, I'll give you a check right now, claim a horse tomorrow for $10,000. He won. Slutsky gave him the check. The next day he claimed a gray horse. I can't think of the horse's name. Maybe one of the listeners will know. And Ralph raced the horse 2 times, and both times he bled to the point where if he bleeds once more, he's barred from racing because he has a history of bleeding. Anyway, he don't know what to do. So Slutsky says, so Charles says, well, what do you want to do? You want to just retire and want to lay him up? Or I says, look, if you want, give him to me. Let me take a shot at him. He gave him to me. I did the same thing. The horse won the next 3 races in a row and never bled. I eventually took him off the Lasix. In the beginning, I kept him on just because the pain he has to take him off, put him on. So I gave him 1 cc of Lasix, which he really didn't need. He won 3 in a row. He never bled. I hated to do it because I made Ralph look like, an incompetent trainer. But it was all friendly. It was, and that was it. So all I'm saying that if I could do it, it could be done. And there is no reason why every horse that comes from Europe and Germany, all of them places, they're not on Lasix. And you watch them. Anyway, I had enough. Anyway, we'll hand it over to
Somebody
Manny.
just asked me, was Muscle Hill on Lasix? The answer is no, but I will say this. He jogged in the Hamiltonian 150. If Larry hadn't trained him, he'd have gone around 140, you'd have to think. Yeah, I can only imagine. Right, Craig? We got to have some fun with you here. Around 140, I would say. And that will be with no Lasix either, by the way.
That guy sounds
You know what my thing was?
Listen.
Mom, they could hear you.
Oh, whoever it is, you sound.
My
What was your
thing
thing?
was I really enjoyed the challenge in life in every way. I love challenges, whether it be racing on skateboards or go-karts or race cars. I love the challenge. And the first time I tasted the challenge was the first horse I ever claimed off Anthony Abatello. First horse I ever claimed. He had a quarter crack, and I mentioned this before. And they drilled holes on both sides of the crack, put a nail in, bent it over, and that's how they mended a quarter crack back in them days. I took that off, and I just come from the car business. I bought a fiberglass kit at Sears and Roebuck, cleaned out the patch, dried it up, the quarter crack, patched it like I would patch a hole in the fender or in the door, and there he comes. Win, 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 win. Okay, and that's what started. So I love my whole life was a challenge. The only horse I couldn't fix, and I have to tell you, and I basically fixed every horse. And I don't believe there was ever a horse that left my barn that did any better. Even though whenever the horse got claimed, I went over and I told the guy if there was a key to him. I always told the guy. I wasn't one of them guys that, you don't claim a horse from Larry, you'll never do no good. I always told the guy, continue doing this. And there's 3 or 4 trainers around that could tell you that's the case. But anyway, that's it. So Manny, we had a long talk this morning for about an hour. You had me on the phone until I got hoarse, and Greg called me this afternoon, and late afternoon, he says, "Why don't we get trades coming on? Why don't we get a hold of Manny and see if he'll come on?" And so I says, "Yeah, that'll be good. Tonight will be a good night for Manny to come on and talk about whoever you want. I'm sure Manny has an unbelievable opinion about everything, and most of the time he's right. And I know he had a bunch of horses racing this week, and I'm sure he has a lot to say. We talked about something this morning that we're not going to. I don't want to talk about that guy that we talked about. I don't want to mention that. So don't go there. But talk about. I mean, if you want, you can go there. I'm just not going to comment.
Everyone.
I said I'll never mention the guy's name again, and I won't. He's a serious troublemaker, and there's a major problem with him. And somebody should do what I suggested to you. But I won't comment. You want to talk about it? You want to talk about? Greg will answer you. You know, you and Greg.
Greg, I got it. Greg, I have a question.
No. Greg's done. That's why I needed Manny. I've said all I got to say. Now I want you guys to talk. Absolutely.
Greg, I got a question for you, Greg. And my question to you is, you got banned from racing, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Why was it that you didn't go to an outside track and still train horses? If you're not on a track, you're not banned from being at a private track, a private farm, are you?
Because, Manny, I'm not a guy who should be banned, and I'm not going to operate until it gets fixed. As a matter of fact, I had a meeting today, and the commission yesterday didn't make it. So the whole thing, you know, when Sal DeMaria looked at it, nobody would believe it, especially the 2005 years when nobody was hurt. The whole thing, you know. So I'm just not somebody who would go and do that. That I'll wait until, you know, I don't even know if I want to come back now, because I always did well, and I was good for the business. You know, I was there a lot, you know, especially in those great days, and when NBC would cover it, the real NBC. But most people would do that, Manny, and it's a good question, but I'm not going to do that. I'll wait and see what happens. But
all right. No, I was just curious, because you could have just been like everybody else and had
confidence. Yeah, but you say with confidence, not as much as Larry, but most people who paid attention will tell you I had a very high percentage, and that was getting horses from top outfits that were terrible when I got them. I could name 10 of them here now, but I'm not going to. They'll say he had one good horse. That just isn't true. You know, but anyway, I've only had, 1,400 starts lifetime. Ronnie Burke could have that in 3 months, huh? Yeah. But again, Larry, you know, as I say, I tip my hat to him. I got to have some fun with him. Do you race this week, man? Did you race this week?
I got another question for you.
Go ahead. Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What made you buy Muscle Hill? Why did you buy Muscle Hill at the sale? What did you see in Muscle Hill?
I saw the video. And for those who say, well, that's the best of, well, that's true. So can you imagine if one has a bad video, how bad it really was? So I saw the video, and I always said I saw it on a Saturday afternoon. I was living a block off the ocean in Spring Lake, and I don't know, it was a windy, sunny afternoon, and I remember I had a Dell laptop, and I saw it, and I went crazy about it, and then I better not change my mind. So that started it, but you could never speculate that kind of greatness.
What'd you pay for it?
You know, there's just no way.
What'd you pay for it?
You knew it was something there, that he was going to be something, but you could never speculate that. But that's how it happened. And then when I got to the sale, he had a roach back, like a bump on his spine. And but a lot of people turned him down when they saw the roach back, but it kind of filled in. If you look at his pictures, the whole thing kind of filled in. Yeah, you wouldn't even know that he had a roach back when he was a yearling.
What'd you pay for it?
That turns people off.
Greg, what'd you pay for it? What did you pay for it?
$55,000. 55. 55,000.
What a home run that was.
I like this.
No, I was just curious. I was curious because he's one of the best horses, and I was just curious what made you. You're on a
Listen, all,
delay.
Well, I've said this.
all you guys
Yeah,
that left comments, I'm
I'm on
going
a
to get
delay.
to them as soon as most of this discussion slows down a bit. I'll get to all the comments. I'll go through them.
Well, we saw, yeah, but a lot of those questions we talked about Lasix, we talked about the heart attacks. I mean, again, a lot of those questions, I don't think we're qualified to answer, frankly. We can just give an opinion based on the horses that we had, but there's no scientific evidence to it. So I'd rather, what we need to do is get somebody who's a practical veterinarian to answer questions like that. I've always been like that. If somebody could answer it better, I'd rather let them answer it. You'd be better off going to ChatGPT for some of these. Because again, we're only going to give you based on what we had. Yeah. So that Larry, you can do what you want with them. That's, to me, I don't think, with respect, them not. They'd be better off loaded into ChatGPT. That's what I think. Don't ask me, because everybody says you know a lot. Well, I'm well informed. I study it, but I just think they're all subjective situations that it's speculation at this point. How would you know that this guy killed that many and what the cause of death was and all? That's me anyway. I can tell you this. They've been talking about drugs, Manny, for as long as I've been on the go. In the day, you ask guys, when I was in the claiming business, I claimed from the best of them. We're supposed to have all the drugs, and they went better. I could sit here and name them, but I won't. But there are people who do know that. So where was the drug? I don't have any tests. But I do think this. Are there guys playing it against? Absolutely. It's easier. That's another thing. What I would do is, if I got a horse that was no good, I wouldn't race it the next week. I might give it a couple of months off, but then it would be good for a year. Yeah. So I can remember a horse called Corey's Big Guy, who everybody made, but Schnitker had him in the fall of his 3-year-old year, I think. And I claimed him when he was 4, and he was distant the night I claimed him. 8 distant. I gave him 2 months off. I took him down to Garden State. He beat Bad Bert in the Open. And that winter, they had 150,000 claimer at the Meadowlands, and he won that. And the last time he raced for 100, 150. He had the 10-0, went wire to wire, and died on Canada Day. Died from a multivitamin. See, and that's an age-old about jugs and vitamins and all that. Horses can die from that. That's why I'm not convinced that all of these are elaborate deaths. That they're, literally you could give a horse a shot of iron and drop them like a bad habit dead. Yeah. So, but again, they've always been talking about the drugs. There's always been somebody, but I never let it bother me. Isn't it that way in every sport? Or, there's always somebody. So, I don't know. I think if you select well, and pedigree is very important. See, a lot of them will tell you, they claimed horses, they wouldn't even, especially they have no idea what the sire or the dam is. They have no clue. All they know is it raced a certain claimer. That'd be like buying a car to me and having no idea what brand it is. Okay, you'd like to have an idea what brand it is, to see what kind of so you at least have something to begin with. Now, no doubt people will go by yearlings. A lot of them are no good. I get that, but one thing about the pedigrees, somewhere along the line, see, Corey's Big Guy was a Cam's Card Shark that could go with pain. There, he had bad knees. So there you go. That was pretty well what I thought about him. He'll come back. I didn't think he'd come back that good, but he did. So, Fly Like an Eagle was another one. He was by Die Laughing. Had a story like that they all wanted to buy him and said the guy wouldn't sell, and I bought him, and he was really, really good. Tony, am I getting paid by the word? No, Larry is, though. But Manny, yeah, that's anything else?
I have something to say. What's that? Chat TV? I could tell you what's going to happen now after you made that statement is that there's going to be a lot of owners out there that are going to become trainers and ask chat TV.
No. They should. The state. You know what I would say. What's an issue with Manny based on what I've heard from the get-go, his biggest frustration is he doesn't know where he's at, as Bill Peretti would say. In other words, I think, Manny, if the horse is wait till he gets back here. Wait till he comes back. Manny dropped off. Larry, can you get him back? Yeah,
there he
back.
is.
Yeah.
He's back.
Yeah, but I don't see him, though.
You don't see him?
You there, Manny?
I don't see him.
No.
You don't see him?
No.
I don't see him.
He's there. He's there. If you don't see him, I see him. Manny, can you hear me?
Manny, can you hear me now?
No, he's.
Greg, I see you.
Can you hear me? What?
But can you hear Greg?
Well, I guess we lost Manny. He froze or something.
He's frozen or something.
He must be on his phone.
No, he's very bad.
Oh.
He gets very bad internet speed where he is. So he's right now. You can see he's in bed and he's probably getting very poor reception or something. So
no, but he's probably in a neighborhood with a lot of. There's always a Tony Bologna that says you put him to sleep. Okay, I won't. There's always somebody that comes up with something.
It's a stage.
It's not real productive.
Manny, can you hear us?
You back, Manny?
Yeah, I've been hearing you the whole time.
Okay.
Do you hear me now?
I was saying to you.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
I would say you would get along with a guy like me. Why? Because if the horse was no good, I tell you immediately. I'll give you an example. Muscle Hill was bought for $55,000 on a Monday. Touchdown Town the same day for $320,000. He was a full brother to Muscle Mass and Muscle Massive. I came back to White Birch on Friday. I went around with Muscle Hill. His cruising speed, he'd go around about twice as fast as everybody's once. Now I get on Touchdown Town. He's looking to pace, and he never was any good. And I told them before Christmas time, and they bought him in Harrisburg. Get rid of him. I had another one called the First Crop of Chocolatier. Valley High. Bill Weaver, the master breeder, waited 50 years to name one Valley High. I got him. I told him, say at Harrisburg. He's no good, but they went ahead and bought him. I told them, no good. And I said, why don't you give him to somebody? And I whoever you want to. And in the end of it, he was never any good. So wouldn't you rather this? Let's say you and your buddy, you paid $235,000 like they did. Wouldn't you rather save all the staking and all that and take your losses? Right? I think you're that type of guy. You need to know where you're at because I see you're right. The excuses to this, to that, that gives you no feel for anything. Right? Can't hear me. Thank you, David Arthur, for saying that.
I don't think
I'm listening to you.
Oh, yeah, okay. But well, I'm asking you,
No, I hear you.
Is that a frustration for you? You don't know where, in other words, you'd rather be told the horse is no good, get rid of him. Save the money. Instead of the excuse.
I think anybody would rather be told that.
You're wrong.
I think anybody would rather be told that.
No. That's where the horse. Speaking of Bob Baffert, my friend Vince Baker was veterinarian to Wayne Lucas too. You know what Wayne would tell them? He'd tell all of the owners, all of them, that the horse was going to win the Kentucky Derby. And I said to Vince, well, what happened? Well, we know he statistically wasn't. He said Wayne had said we had bad luck. He was sick, or he got hurt, and they'd go buy more. You know what they told me? Well, if you're so good, why don't you fix him then? Now, Alan Skolnick, who did buy half of, he was happy about the Valley High thing because he was the type much rather take the loss. He told me, he said, you didn't want him from the get-go. If he's no good, get rid of him. And he saved all the stake payments and that. But again, what I have found is owners, when I had them, for the most part, I wouldn't be a lot of fun to be with because I think in the first month, I can pretty well tell you. I went over to my crew the next year and I said, the Holiday Road, if everything goes okay, I think we'll win Peter Houghton again. And he did. Next year, I went over them at Thanksgiving. I said, none of them are any good. What? No, I said, Grace Marie, she's okay. And Red and White and Bluestone, and they were both second in their limbs of the Mary Annabelle, which is now the Jimmy Doherty, and one of them gets second in the final. But I was right. The rest, I've always said that. Why didn't, if I was so smart when I had Muscle Hill, I probably should have kept Muscle Hill, Holiday Road, Palone Ranger, Lady Magdalene. They were all good. And I only had a dozen horses. Why didn't I take the other 8, give them to somebody, or But it's hard to do because you end up at a yearling sale. Here's the problem. I went the next year. I loved Holiday Road, but the next year I didn't find any that I loved, but I bought them anyway because I was like everybody else. But we'll have nothing to train. Yeah. So there. So you're wrong. Not everybody wants to be told the way it is, and I think, and I'm not saying it's like probably in your business you have a feel for it. So where most guys will tell you the yearling, if he doesn't fall down or throw himself, if he hits the trot or hits the pace until March, they say, well, he's doing the same as the others are doing. But I want to know early because I don't want to be putting up all that money. And now you have, by the way, especially with the trotters, you have the Amish. I had one called Lordy. He left me for $20,000. A year and a half later, he sold as an Amish stallion. You look it up for $1.375 billion. Another one, Newtown Chocolatier. 7 years later, after I got rid of him, he sold for $300,000. So now, especially with the trotters, there is a ceiling. You can get money from the Amish. So, and especially if you don't show them that they're no good, if you know early that they're not going to do it, get rid of them. And let's face it, it's statistically improbable business anyway. You know that, right? If you go out and build something, I get at some point I'll do well all night. I'll get it moved. It'll work out. Even if the economy drops for a while. For horses, it's a high risk thing. So you got, but I happen to have a partner in the day. Yeah, you can tell him whatever you want. He's no good. Get rid of him. We just played him good. Okay, drop him in for whatever. Where everybody else, no, and then you end up losing more. So there, but it wouldn't be a whole lot of fun because you'd be hearing the horses no good. Unless now, if you had Larry, I got to tease him again. I forgot about that. What we got to do is if I get back in business and I can't get one to go, I got to give it to Larry, and then I'll be tested.
Absolutely.
I
It's a miracle.
I happen to agree about everything you said except the last statement.
Larry's
I said, I give it to you. The next time I run into one I can't get to go, I'm going to give it to you because I know it'll go. Basically, you're batting 1,000. The only time you lost is when you didn't want to win. That's it.
I won the races.
I love Larry. You know that.
I won the races I had to win and lost the ones I had to lose. In the meantime, speaking about the Amish, just 2 weeks ago, thousands of horses were sent up to Canada for slaughter. 90% of them were sent up there by the Amish.
Yeah. Well, I got to tell you something there too. I do not agree with horses for slaughter. Okay, I don't. Here's the however. Some of them, if they could be humanely put to sleep, they're better off than the homes they get. And that's the truth. I've seen them. I saw one. They were supposed to be like a thoroughbred relief. They happened to be in the barn with me. If I didn't feed them, they wouldn't have gotten fed. They would, you know what I'm saying? So you got to be careful of the whole slaughter thing. You can't make a sweeping generalization and say X went and this is why. That's what you read. But the Amish, my experience, they're like us. Some are good and some are bad. But I know there's lots of trainers where the horse would be better off. You know, they don't have a good home. They don't even get the see. That's the other thing. A lot of them, they don't even get the basics. They don't even feed them right. They'll be laughing.
When a horse goes,
what's that?
When a horse goes to the slaughterhouse, what do they do with the horse?
Well, the problem is, I think what they do is they knock them with something, and then they're slaughtered out. It's inhumane. That's the problem with it.
No, but does people buy the meat? I mean, we don't eat horse meat in the U.S.
Countries like France, they say that they like horse meat. Yes.
The biggest
I don't know. I've never had it, but that's
the country that buys most of the meat, most of the slaughtered horses, is Italy.
Yeah. But the problem is with the
slaughtered
horses,
I didn't know that.
They've been treated with drugs. They've been treated with so many drugs that it's not good. They're really not good to eat.
Well, there's that part of it too. And it'll say on a lot of the bottles now, as you know, trade with the medications. You know, if they're not for horses for slaughter, put it that. Right. They even say that on the label. I'm surprised that they say it in that way. You know, because of the wording, and when you think about it, it sounds pretty cruel. But you know, thank you again, there, David. And I'm not listen to say I'm the only honest one. That isn't true. I certainly don't mean it like that. There are other guys like that, but I can see with guys like Manny in your own business, you got a handle on it, right? You know what to do. But now you get into this, and you were talking. I heard you talking about the excuse. He got locked in. He choked off. He tied up. The resistance. You know, I never. He
saw a shadow.
Yeah,
he saw a shadow. Equipment broke. He hooked the wheel. Jumped the puddle. There was a groundhog out on the track. Pigeon went across the track. Geese went across the track. The track was icy. The track gave out.
Yeah.
The inside was deep. That's why when Larry said to me once, "No, you don't know. You don't know as much about the horse." No, I know plenty. I know plenty. Please, the horse was short.
Yeah.
He needs a tightener. Next week he'll be better.
Yeah.
Horse was coming up on him in the rear.
Why don't they say this? You know, but here's the culture.
The horse sucked.
The drivers bring them back and give the trainers feedback. Not me. Like Sears and I never even talked about Muscle Hill before or after the race, or others that he drove for me. Because it was up to me to figure it out. And sometimes why do we have to the one that's gone to the winner's circle and the one that maybe gets second or third? Okay, race good. Then the other 7, there has to be an excuse that implies if you do this, well, he would have won the race. Maybe he's just not that good and doesn't have it. That's all. It's like an athlete. Some of them just don't, or he didn't have it that particular night. You know, there's very few even of the athletes.
Or just come back and say he raced like shit.
They're afraid you're going to take the horse. See, you know what I would do? I told you what I would tell you. Now, not only is he not going to do any good, but if you think he is, I'd say give him to Burks, whoever you want. I want you to, that's what should be done. In any other business, if you know, it's like I would say if you have a doctor, they might say get a second opinion. But most people, you know, they go by numbers and they're afraid of somebody improving on them too. But I never worried about that because I did feel I covered all bases with the basics mostly. Like there was nothing. As I say, for a guy who didn't have that many, but it kind of hurt me too because I didn't used to believe in the conspiracy theory, but what they've done to me, you'd kind of have to think so. But anyway, it is what it is. What are you going to do?
Well, I respect the fact that you don't want to be a breed trainer. You don't want that kind of situation.
Anybody else would have been a beard. Anybody else would have been a beard.
Absolutely.
No, well, you know what I would come back. You know what I need?
That's why I asked Greg the question.
You know what I need? You know what I need? I've always said, give me a guy with money, and I'll show you some horses. Like poor Bill Peretti. Do you remember Bill Peretti, Manny? You around then?
I used to keep horses at his farm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Bill said he felt bad. He said, I'm too old now. But he said, boy, if you were around in my day, I'd buy you some horses. And that's a lot of it. Is the biggest thing is selecting them. It's like anything. Again, you're in building. You can look at a lot. I'm sure it's all how you do it. It's not probably the guy next to you can build and say, yeah, but you've got to get. Am I correct in saying that you have a feel for it? You have an instinct. You have probably a skill that can't be taught. The same with me is that I think there's something about having instinct.
Right.
What do you say? Are you that way too, Manny? Manny?
With that?
I'm waiting for you to talk. I said, are you that way too?
Yeah, I said I agree with that.
Yeah, you're an instinct guy. Right. So you can look at it. You know what a buddy of mine used to do? Because we were friends. I said, I don't train for you. He said, but I said, do this. Tell the guy, I'll tell you what. Tell me he's no good, and I'll pay you for 3 more months. Give me the training bill now. I'll pay you for 3 more months. Well, can you get rid of him right away, please, so I can save that money? Right? You're better off. There. Yeah, Peretti said, because Peretti would. What about him, Peck? He's no good. What? He's no good. Why is it? Well, I don't know. He can't talk. He's not fast enough. Okay, he's slow. All I know what somebody else told you about him, and that's not true. So anyway, yeah,
that's been my problem. That's been my problem. Fast women and slow horses. But listen, Greg, who owns White Birch now?
That's owned by Joe Parisi Jr.
Oh, Parisi.
Michael ran it for years. I'll tell you a funny story. Oh, that's not funny. Michael had addiction problems, and Michael was a wonderful guy. I'll tell you a funny story, a good story about it. Michael had serious addiction, crack. He ended up in New Orleans in a crack house. You got to know Michael. He was a wonderful guy. Oh my God, but he was right. What a great person. I left White Birch. They said they didn't have enough stalls, and when they found him in New Orleans about June, I got to go. Where are you? I said I moved. You were gone. He sent the truck, all his help, took the 25 I had, and moved them all back. We never had to do a thing. That was Michael Parisi. Now, when I went to Canada for a couple of years, I lied on. Did you know him, Manny? Did you ever see him around? Big guy, Mike Parisi?
No.
Manny?
No.
You remember him?
No.
His father be okay. So we're lying on the bed, and I'm going to go back to Canada for a couple of days. And the big Mike was big. I said, "You're going to be okay?" "Yeah, I'm going to be okay." He called me every day for a couple of months. "You okay today?" Yeah. No drugs, no alcohol. One Saturday afternoon, I get a call, and I'm driving through Guelph, and the guy says, "Mr. Peck, a guy wants to speak to you." "Hello?" I said, "You're not drinking, are you?" "I had a beer." I said, "You're talking to me." I said, "You know what? You're going to die." Next Saturday evening, I get 7 missed calls from him. See, I tell you what he would do. Michael, because he owned the place, they didn't know what he was really like. He was a really good guy. We were both Catholic. Not that that means anything, but it seems that he'd call me Christmas morning because he'd be in bad shape. And he knew I'd be at the barn Christmas morning. But anyway, so that Saturday I get 6, 7 missed calls, and then I get a call, and I said, "You know what? What? Michael is dead." And then what happened? It was in the story of it. was in the tabloids in New York that with the family. See, Joe Parisi owned a lot of the land around JFK. Okay, and he left a lot of the money to the Children's Hospital. I forget, was it St. Joseph's or one of the other ones? But and it was also the estate took a while to be figured out, but it's Joe Jr. that owns it now, who never used to be around the horses. Michael was around all the time, huh? Where Joe didn't seem to have the interest. Now he's changed the name from White Birch Farm to Hot Lead Stable because they had a horse years ago called Hot Lead. So they changed the name, huh? So that's that one.
I wanted to
Manny,
buy
I know that. Anyway.
I wanted to buy White
What's
Birch in the early 70s, but they didn't want to sell it. I don't know who the owner was then.
It might have even been no. It might have been Joe, and they called it JM Farms in the day. Joe and
because I had a
Margaret,
I had a horse named JM Special that I bought from those guys that I won one of the fair races with, the Jersey Sire Stakes races. But JM was a JM horse, so it was bred there.
Well, that's what they called the farm.
Yeah.
It was JM in the day because I think the last of it, I think Hot Lead was out of JM something. It was an old mare. I forget, it was a Bye-Bye Bird or something.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But anyway, that's the world according to me. Anyway, that a lot of it is when the horses learn to talk, it'll be a lot easier too.
The world according to Greg Peck.
That's never going to happen.
I love it. I love it.
It's you know where you should go, Manny. I'll go with you. France for a trip. If you want to see racing, meet some people. There's 100 and some tracks there, and it's really something. France, huh? Like, they have 100 and some tracks owned by the country of France. And I drove there in Paris all before. Imagine I represented us. I drove in Paris, and they still did all this stuff to me. So there you go. They never even when I was in France, they didn't even report it. It was all over the French newspapers because of it being a major sport in France. Not like here. Obviously, it isn't. Like, I'm convinced here we could sit here all day, and I don't care what you say. The kids are not going. Okay, you could take my two, and Manny's daughter would probably be much more interested in going with my granddaughter. I bought her a pony, and I would say no. So the girls would love to see the pony, but after a while, they'd probably get bored with the pony. The horses, you have to really be committed. And remember, for people, they got to go to the races, and and if they don't bet, well, they're no good to the track. Like I've been watching man. Did you hear my spiel on France? You hear me? There's a delay there. Anyway, I'll talk to him again. But France, it was really something to see. And they have a training center called Grosbois, where there was a Napoleon mansion there, and they bought it, and all the artifacts just paid for everything. Were you ever in France, Larry?
No.
Were you trade?
No, I never went to Europe.
If you like trotters, you really should see France.
Oh, I know. That's right.
Yeah.
Well,
and remember, and they train everywhere but the racetrack. I mean, they're up and down hills.
Up and down hills, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it makes sense. Why would you have them on? And that's Pacers too. Look at the one I had, Captain's Quarters. I showed on Facebook. I had him on the Delaware River Canal towpath and going free-legged about a 28-second clip and went right over the puddle. He kind of lurched a little bit, but kept on pacing though.
No kidding.
But they like that though. Who'd want to be going around track every day?
Is that better?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're better now. Yeah. You want?
So I got to answer. I got to answer a question here. Yeah. So Tony Baloney.
Yep.
First off, he asked me about what did Ray say the reason for the break last week. The reason for the break last week was At Yonkers, they don't have a passing lane anymore. Ray was sitting the 2-hole, and my horse was going to run over the horse in front of him, and Ray was going to fall down, and he caused the horse to have a break. He had no choice but to make the horse break.
I'd like to know how he does that. I don't know how to make a horse break.
And I can say something, and you know what? In fairness to him, the stupidest thing they ever did was take the passing lane out of Yonkers, because it's dangerous. And not only that, but when people see them coming across the finish line locked in, you think you're going to say, oh, well, we took the passing lane out because there was no middle half at. No, that's why people think it's fixed. They should have 2 passing lanes. Let them out in the stretch so they all get a chance. And sometimes, yes, it's going to beat you. You're going to be on the lead. One's going to beat you up the passing lane. It'll work itself out.
Trey, if you watch the race and you watch him coming around the 3/4 turn, my horse has nowhere to go, and he's ready to run over the horse in front of him, and you see Ray snatch him up, and when he snatched him up, he made a break.
Well, yeah, I guess so. I never thought I knew how to make a horse make a break, and I only raced trotters really. But he's a pacer, right? You're talking about he's a pacer.
He's a pacer. So David just made a comment, Manny, why wouldn't he just pull into the infield? Well, I don't really know, because I'm not a driver and I don't know what you do out there. I mean, horses going 30 miles an hour, 35 miles an hour. I never did it before, so I can't sit here and talk from the couch and say, I would have did this, I would have did that.
But if you watch the race, infield, you would have been disqualified. You can't. He
did go to the infield. He listen. There's no passing lane at Yonkers anymore,
right?
So there's nowhere to go, and I was locked in. I was sitting the 2-hole. I had a horse first over. What do you? If the horse, you can't stop the horse. What are you supposed to do?
Well, just imagine if they had the rail like when we raced years ago with the rail, where you would go.
I wish Larry was able to get the race up so you could watch the race. But Greg, I want you to watch the race. I don't know. Do you have an RTN account?
Yeah. Of course.
Look, it's no big deal. The horse sitting second got locked in. It happens 100 times a week at all different racetracks.
Right.
You're sitting in the 2-hole. There's no passing lane. You're locked in, and you finish climbing over a horse in front of you. If he stays pacing, you're lucky. If his knees or he climbs on the seat or the wheel of the horse, he's going to make a break. It's no big mystery. It's no big deal. These are the things that happen. If you're lucky, you're able to choke him to the point where he might not climb over the guy in front of him. But you got to understand that horses, I believe, are the stupidest animals in the world. You've seen many times in many tracks, horses get loose and they run right into each other head on. So these are the things that happen. Some horses are a little smarter. Some horses, they understand that they're in the hole, they can't climb over the guy, but some horses will run right over the guy. It happened to me 100 times, and it happened to every driver out there. Anybody that drives,
yeah, but Larry, and what happens if the horse runs over the horse in front? Where does Larry go? Where do you end up?
Well, if you're lucky that everybody stays upright. Sometimes if he runs over the guy, you'll go down, and you might get run over by the horses.
It's so much easier, Manny. All they got to do is put the effing passing lane back in, move the pile. It was working great. I raced Palone Ranger. There was another one I got. Chris Ryder had him. They said his career is over. He was distant. 2 months later, I raced him in the Messenger, and he wins going for $550,000. He went up the inside, down the passing lane, and won. There should be a passing lane at the Meadowlands. Worst place in the world to get locked in. They say, what, a mile track? Yeah, because the horses are all good and they get locked in. Now, again, it's the public. It's you bring a friend there with you, and they see that. They don't want to go back again. They say, well, wait now. If you told, well, if Ray had a passing lane, he'd have won. Or had a good, at least he would have gotten a chance. We don't know. We'll never know.
Right.
Because some of them don't.
When the podcast is over, I'm going to give you the race. If you want my account, you can log into my account. I want you to watch the race.
I'll watch it right now.
Go ahead. I want you to watch the race. Listen, I don't talk horse terms. When I say Ray made the horse make a break, he snatched the horse up. I mean, he snatched the horse up so much that I guess that makes the horse make a break, no?
Could have doubled him up. I guess he could have doubled him up. But he's a
What's the horse's
pacer, right?
name?
You
I
just
can't
spent
see
10
over the
minutes
minute.
talking about
What's the
something
horse's
that
name?
happens 100 times a week.
Greg, well, no, Larry, I was a little upset about the race too, but the horse's name, Greg, is Alabama Lucky, and it wasn't this past week. It was not this Tuesday. It was the past Tuesday. Watch the race. I want to hear what Greg says about the race.
First of all, every racetrack should be a minimum of 5
Was
acres.
that November the 25th or the 18th, Manny?
November 25th.
Okay. Yeah, I remember you said he was racing. And I remember I saw the chart, but I didn't see the race.
It's big fight time. Here they come.
Here they come.
We could hear it, Greg.
Covering fourth, two betting on Caesar.
Here's the problem. The horse in front of him is tired.
Panic turn, final time. Glowing low, try and see it through. Along the inside, quoting on. Come down lucky. Pick up the line, covering fourth, two betting on Caesar. They gone by 3/4. They won 26. Panic turn, final time. Glowing low, try and see it through. Along the inside, quoting Alabama Lucky's off stride. As they come on the top of the stretch, they turn for home.
First of all, they weren't getting toward the passing lane then, but the horse on the lead was tiring. Let me see.
Yeah, I want your honest opinion, Greg.
Oh, I know that. Good to paddock.
You don't see that you don't see my horse wants to run over the horse?
Yeah, no. I'm seeing that. Here's what happened. I can't see where Ray did anything wrong either. The horse just made what they call an uncharacteristic break. Because look at the way that, with the rain and the mud and sometimes you'll see that there is no real excuse. I can't see where Ray did anything wrong at all. Just like he's pacing along. Okay, now he's on the helmet of the lead horse, but then now he's not on the helmet. He's got room. So you got to look here. And he's still about the same again. And then all of a sudden, it was an uncare. It did not look like it was going into the turn. He was up on the helmet more where this could have happened. But when he did it, Ray really was sitting there. I can't see where he did anything wrong. The horse made, as I'd say, an uncharacteristic break. It happens. Yeah.
Listen, John Higgins is here saying, let me see what he said here. He said, Manny, add that to your list of Ray excuses. First off, Ray doesn't give me excuses. Ray is the only trainer that I ever made money with. In the past 2-3 years, I've made over $1 million with Ray, with racing my horses. After a month that the horse is no good, Ray is the first one to call me up and tell me, get rid of the horse. It's no good. If you want to keep the horse as a pet, keep it. If you want to make money, get rid of the horse. So, Mr. Higgins, you're very wrong about that. And Ray is way over the hill. I'm going to beg to disagree with you. I would put Ray on. I'd rather Ray drive all my horses than most of these catch drivers.
Well, I'd say this. Ray would probably, not that he's over the hill, he'd probably tell you he's not doing it as much now as he used to. So he's probably, not the same as he was in the day, probably. But he still did nothing wrong that I could see there. But the catch drivers, I think in the long run you'll probably do better.
With the catch drivers?
Unless you can get a trainer. What's that?
With the catch drivers, you said?
Yeah, like say I drove like my own, if I had the trotters for down at Pocono or Chester, what I'd usually do is win and then put George Knapp on and let him win, or put George Knapp on because he's my friend and do no good, and then I get on him and win. Because they'd say, well, why did you go down the backstretch in 27 seconds? You should have gotten 29. But we were friends, and that's what would happen. But most of the time, the catch. See, here the catch drivers are doing it all the time, and it's just like Ray drove Dewey Cheatham and Hound did a great job. But when Huntsville came along, he had Timmy Peakett driving, so he obviously thought that he was giving him a better chance with Timmy driving, or he wouldn't have done it. He's got self-confidence. He knows I'm not what I was, so I'll pass him over to Timmy T. And Huntsville became a very good horse and a very good sire. I see he filled his book again, huh? Good sire. He's always the leading sire in New York. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Huntsville is the number one. I think he's the best New York breeding horse right now in the sire stakes.
At one time, though, when he'd buy the yearlings, he would buy a quarter of all of them. Does he still do that? Or the ones you own, or he has a piece of? How do you do that?
He has a piece of every horse.
What?
He has a piece of every horse.
He does have a piece of every horse?
Yes, he has
even
a
the
piece
ones
of
you have?
The one of them he doesn't.
Yeah, and he does well doing it.
Yeah, one horse that I have, it's just me and a partner.
Yeah. I tell you what he told me. He had a couple, what would have been a couple of bad years, but what saved him, he said, were Huntsville and even the other one. What's his name? The some beach somewhere that stands in New York. He actually does okay too. Who's that?
Well, he had King of the North too.
Not Huntsville. Another. Yeah, that's the trotter. Now, what's the other pacer that he had?
Splash Brother?
He was fast, but no.
Oh, so surreal.
He did well. Yeah, he's done okay as a sire. Like I'm not saying he's not as good as Huntsville, but there's worse than him. Right?
Yeah, I would agree with you.
Yeah, it's worse than him. Yeah.
Larry looks like he's over there ready to put a hit on somebody.
No, my back is killing me.
Larry has more deals. Larry got more deals going than Monty Hall. Okay,
that's right. You're exactly right. In fact, I mentioned that to Manny this morning.
And for those who don't remember, Monty Hall was on Let's Make a Deal.
Let's make a deal.
What's that?
Is he still alive? Monty Hall still alive?
I wonder.
Is he still alive?
I don't think so. That's a long time ago.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
A long time ago.
Yeah.
Like Monty Hall would be the 70s, I think, trade, huh?
Yeah, definitely. When are you going in for your back, Larry?
What's that?
When are you going in for your back?
I already went in yesterday, and there's not much they could do. It is what it is. I'm 85, loaded with arthritis. The last 5 vertebrae, or whatever they call them, are all out of line, all out of whack. The nerve that runs through that hole, the hole the nerve runs through, they're all kind of pinching the nerves, and there's nothing that they can do. They're all kind of frozen in place. So the only thing they could do is epidurals and pain medicine. So now I got to become basically a drug addict, and that's fine. I'll be on oxycodone or whatever. They just told me yesterday that it's okay for me to take the oxycodone 3 times a day, and that's what I'm going to do. I try only to do it 2 times a day, but I'm not making it. See, I should have taken one before, but now my back really hurts. But it is what it is. They say that if the epidurals, whatever you call that word is, they may last for 3, 4, 5, 6 months. And that'd be great. So if that's it, and it lasts for 6 months at a time, by the time I'm due for the second shot, I'll be dead anyway. So
Were they going to do that? Did they do the epidural?
Well, they're gonna do. I'm making an appointment. The appointment's gonna be made this week because they asked me to think about it because I went to a pain management guy and he recommends that I just stay on the oxycodone and the one other medicine for my sciatica. And the other guy that I went to, I have two. I just wanted second opinions. And he recommended the epidurals. So I'm gonna do both. I'm gonna take the pills until I get the epidural, and once the epidural, I'm gonna stop once I get the epidural, and if it works, I'll stop with the pills. And if it lasts 3, 4, 5, 6 months, every 6 months I'll go back and I won't have to take the pills. But it may be, look, it is what it is. There's nothing you can do about it. If I was 20 years old, there's 3 or 4 things that you could do. But when you're my age, just like Joe Guarino, I mean, that guy I take 5 milligrams 3 times a day. I was taking 5 milligrams 2 times. Joe Guarino takes 30 milligrams every 4 hours. It's unbelievable. I
told me he's not.
But listen, you got to try turmeric and tart cherry. It's going to help a little bit. Besides you taking the oxycodone, you should take turmeric like 3, 4 times a day. It's not going to hurt you. It's natural. And tart cherry, just try it. Remember I told you about vitamins? Man, listen, I'm a self-proclaimed immunity expert, but I know tart cherry and turmeric is a painkiller, natural.
Trade. I have so many things going on now. I really don't like the pills, only because all the pills, whatever you take, has a side effect. The epidurals don't, and that's the route I'm gonna go, and I'm hoping it lasts 3, 4 months. I'm tired of the pills. I'm tired of remembering to take them. I'm tired of the side effects. I'm tired of the constipation that lasts for
the constipation
days and days and days.
Yeah.
I'm just tired of it all. But if that's the only thing, then I'll put up with it. But I have another option, and the option is and that's what I'm going to do. I don't have to worry about nothing else. About if it lasts 6 months, every 6 months I go in and get another shot. That's what I want. I have too many other things. These doctor appointments drive me crazy. Yesterday I had to go 7 miles. It took me 2.5 hours to get back home. My appointment was at 4:30 in North Bergen, right by Jersey City on Kennedy Boulevard. I live 7 miles from there. It took me 2.5 hours to get home. And tomorrow morning my appointment is in 10 o'clock. And then another one at 11. I'm just tired of running around, and every place you go into, you got to wait a half hour, 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And the only thing is that's taken up because you got to fill out 15 papers. It's the same. It's 15 papers, this, that. You want to know what? I mean, it's great. And I'm tired of all of that. I just want to go now that I know what it is. The cancer part is under control. I got to get my back. If the epidurals will do it, I'm fine. I can go on with my life. I got TV series. I got a movie. I got this other thing for the horses. I'm in the middle of a promotional thing now that I'm trying to film, and people and meetings I got to go to, and I gotta stop with all these doctor visits and everything else. And I hate to progress. Years ago, you used to go to one doctor, and whatever it is, it is.
Yeah.
One doctor, everything is specialized. You go to one who sends you to another, who sends you to another, who sends you to another, who sends you to another. And I told the guy, and I speed up these appointments. They give you these appointments a month apart. And I told the guy, I says, look, I'm not 20 years old. You can't, and I have a serious problem. You can't give me appointments a month apart. He says, well, I'm very busy. And I says, well, then I'm going to have to look for somebody else because I can't, and it's just, I understand it, but to me, it's bullshit. To me, I just feel that if if I go, and that's the other thing. From now on, I'm going into the hospital because when you go into Hackensack Hospital, you go into the emergency room, all you got to do is sit there and start breathing hard. They'll come right over to you and say, you got a problem here, I'm having trouble breathing. They'll take you right in front of everybody else. And unfortunately, that's what you have to do. There may be people there waiting that have broken arms and everything else. But I'm not gonna sit in the emergency room for 3 hours. I'm just gonna go in there and throw myself on the floor and say I have terrible pains and I can't breathe. They take you right in. So you're screwing all the other people. But you know, I can't do that. And instead of going to these doctors and before, like the first doctor I was in so much pain, and I said to the doc, please, look, I'm not a drug addict. Please give me something to help. He says, I can't. I'm bound by the law. And I understand that, and he is, until you take the MRI. So I take the MRI, and then he says, okay, I'll give you whatever you want. You know, so I couldn't get any relief at all until the MRI. Now, why couldn't, you're supposed to be a specialist. Why don't you have an MRI machine there? Why does everything have to be specialized? You figure if the chiropractor sent me to you, that means you are the step above. How many fucking steps do I got to take before I can get a place that has an MRI machine?
Larry,
What?
Larry, I can answer that question for you.
Yeah, I know.
It's all about money, brother.
But anyway, I reached the end. I did everything I had to do. I did it the right way. I waited. I went to doctors, and now it's the end. Now I just know I have to get, it's either the epidermal or the Oxycontin, and that's it. It's over. I don't have to worry about it no more. As far as my cancer thing, they told me the last visit I had, which was 2 weeks ago, that it's basically in remission, that instead of going every 3 months, I now can go every 6 months because whatever is growing, it's so minute, if at all, that there's no reason for me to go. So all of that news is good. It's all coming to an end. And I'm sure by in another week or 2 weeks, I'll be 100% and I can pay attention instead of going to doctors and doctors and doctors. I can take care of the business that I have going, and that's it.
Well,
But that's why I'm sitting like this, because my back is just bad, and now it's not so much the back; it's the sciatic nerve from the cheek of my ass down the back to the back of my knee, then to the front. It's killing me. It's a killer, and it's a pain. It's nonstop. It's non. At least with the knees, you got relief. You put your leg up, you didn't move.
Can you sleep?
No, that's why I don't
How are you
take the
sleeping
pills.
though?
I take the pills just a half hour before I go to bed. So anyway, I'm able to sleep. So that's okay. That's okay. The only thing is I should have taken them. See, I'm allowed to take it 3 times a day. I try only to take it 2 times, when I wake up and when I go to sleep. What I should have did today was taken one in the morning when I get up at 6 o'clock. Then I should have taken another one at 1 o'clock. That would have held me until like now. But I didn't take one, and the pain started this afternoon. And I should have taken it. But then if I took it then, I wouldn't be able to take it tonight. So, but I got it all figured out. It's all good. The sad part is, and I even hate talking like this about the bullshit problems that I have, because when I go to Hackensack Hospital, there's probably 3,000 people in there in wheelchairs and everything else, and I'm the healthiest one of all of them. And what the fuck am I complaining about?
Yeah.
So that's why it's stupid for me to talk like this, because there's people in there that, I mean, it's so sad. People half my age sitting there, 80 pounds, no hair. I go in the cancer unit. It's sickening. It gets you sick. It just gets you sick. You want to go in there with blindfolders, but then you even the smell of death is there. It's just so sad and so depressing. And here I am sitting talking about a bullshit pain and I'm the healthiest guy in there. It's terrible. And it's so hard for me to believe that in all these years, and I can go on forever about this, that they still haven't found the cure. And the best thing that stopped my cancer was the ivermectin, and yet the doctors won't prescribe it because they can't, because it's not approved by the FDA. So, but it's sad. And I told the doctor, I told the doctor. In fact, I'm going on the 15th to see my surgeon. And I told the other doctor, because I have two cancer doctors I go to, both in the same hospital. One does all the blood work, and the other one is the surgeon. And I says, how could you sit there knowing that now you're sending people for these trials? They want to send me for a trial. I says, look, I've been through. I lived through years where they had trials every year, and the Cancer Society has these trials, and 100,000 people call in that they want to be part of the trial. They pick 10, and the 10 that they pick are the 10 that have the best based on their diagnosis of living through their experiment, and the rest of them are just left there to die. And the 10 that they pick on every case, and I have proof of this because I was at the congressional hearing I caused in 1981 with Guy Molinari from Staten Island. Every one of them died. In every trial thing, they picked 10, and every one of them died every year. And I says to the doctor, I says, you know that ivermectin is really working. It's really helping. How the fuck could you not give it to these people? They said, because we can't. We can't. First of all, we get $10,000 a month for every person we put on chemo. And second of all, she didn't tell me that. She told me that. The other person told me that off the record. But they can't prescribe it because it's not FDA approved. So I had to go. First, I had to go to India to get this drug. And luckily enough, I found a friend of mine who went to college with the best, some doctor, and he recommended this doctor that I give all the information to everybody who calls in. And he sent me, you pay $500. You get a conference call after you send him all the records, and he sits and talks with you for 45 minutes, and then he prescribes everything. And he prescribes ivermectin to me with 3 other drugs, and all of a sudden was saying, well, we took out 23 inches of your large colon, we took out 15 lymph nodes, and cancer is spread through here and there and there, and tomorrow we're going to start chemotherapy. I says, no, you're not, because I'm not taking it. He says, well, that's stupid. Well, if you weren't going to take the chemo, there was no sense in removing the tumor. And I says, look, don't give me all the bullshit. Just please, just let me go to fuck home, and I'll worry about it. And I contacted this doctor, and I got the ivermectin, and I went back I think it was 2 weeks at that time, and the blood test, that sophisticated blood test that they gave you, I took that one and I paid for one. I paid $1,000 for another test that they just come up with that's not approved yet. And both of them tests come back that the cancer has not progressed. It's stopped and it's down. There's so little in my system that it's not even worth talking about. And that's why now they say I don't have to go back in 3 months. I go back in 6 months. So if you say, yet you were forcing me to take the chemo, so I could look like the crew of people you got outside sitting there with no hair, they're fucking gray, and they weigh 80 pounds. That's what you want to turn me into. With you insisting that I take it. When somebody says they don't want to take chemo, just shut the fuck up. Just keep mind your own bit. They don't want to take chemo. And when I was in the Bahamas, when he had a cure for cancer, which I won't get into that, you know who all his customers were? There were 101 people that he could handle at one time. Every single one of them at one time in the beginning were cancer surgeons from the United States. And then little by little, they start sending their people there, the ones that had a conscience and a heart. So when I go to the cancer place, I says, don't look. And I got news for you. If it wasn't so severe, I would have been. This happened at one time. I come back from halfway back from California. I couldn't stand the pain, and as soon as I got back here, I went to the doctor. I collapsed on the floor. They rushed me to the hospital, and they told me right there. They says, we don't have time for anything. Your intestines, your colon is about to explode. My stomach was like I had two soft basketballs in it. Your stomach is about to explode, and you'll die instantly. We have to go right now. I said, go ahead. I woke up 7 or 8 hours later with a bag on my side. I lost 30 pounds just from the operation, and then they want to force me to take. But if it wasn't for that, it was that critical. If had I gone for a colonoscopy, that they told me I didn't have to go after 75 years old, you don't have to go no more. That's the rule at the cancer site. You don't have to, after 75, you don't have to get no more colonoscomies. Well, at 84, when this happened, the doctor surgeon said to me, he says, had you gone for your regular colonoscomies, we could have caught this real early and none of this would have happened. This took 7 years for this to happen. I says, it was your people that told me I didn't have to go. And then I start getting hot and excited. And I says, look, I don't want to talk about it. It is what it is. We're here right now. And just get this fucking thing out of me. Let me go home. Show me how to change this bag and everything else. And he says, you can't go home. You got to start chemo tomorrow. I says, I'm going home. I'm not, no chemo. And I went home. I made arrangements to go down to Dr. Burton. But the problem with Dr. Burton is you have to stay down for 6 weeks. So when my friend called me up and says, I have this surgeon that knows the best guy and he does the ivermectin, I heard a little bit about ivermectin and I really start researching ivermectin and I found out that it really works, but I can't buy it over the internet.
Yeah, but you get it at your nearest pet shop.
It's
you
all
can get it at the pet store. I mean, we use it for the horses.
No, I know. I bought that too. But it's also the stuff that you buy, the ivermectin that you buy, the horse dewormer that we used to use, 90% of it that's sold on the internet is phony. And they one person, the people that make the real one advertise it, and you can see it's phony. They even have phony ivermectin. They got phony everything.
Yeah.
To be careful, and that's why when the doctor yesterday says to me, "Well, you went 2 or 3 months without OxyContin," I says, "Because I'm scared to death to buy it in the street." My friend who was going to do my movie went and he got some OxyContin, and they found him dead within 10 seconds. He was dead behind the wheel of his car.
Larry.
Frank Valano. That's right.
Larry.
We have a picture of you and him. He was going to make a movie. You know this. And they found him dead. So I'm not going to go in the street and buy this bullshit in the street. I found my friend found a legitimate doctor who's been in the business, graduated from Columbia, got all these degrees and everything else. And he realized 5 years ago that ivermectin worked. He gave up his whole surgery practice and everything else, and now that's all he does is cure people with cancer with ivermectin and 2 or 3 other parasite-killing drugs that he uses. And when I told him, I said, stop asking me about the chemotherapy because I used to go there every 3 months. I says, I'm taking this, and now they don't ask me because they know. And I says, look, close the door. You can talk. I don't know if there's cameras in here or not, but you know ivermectin works. He says, all I can say is that we're not allowed to administer it. It's not approved. So that's it. But I said, so how could you, would you see, here's what I believe. I believe that you could live life. The key to a long life is good health and a bad memory. The problem is a fucking conscience. If you have a conscience, you're fucking destroyed. Because you think back, you don't want to do nothing wrong. If you have a conscience, how could you, knowing that chemo kills more people than it helps, how could you treat these people coming in a fucking wheelchair? 6 months ago, they walked in here, 210 pounds. 6 months later, they're being wheeled in a fucking wheelchair with no hair, and you're still making them go for chemo. Oh, we have a new one now. It pinpoints the thing right away and everything else.
Yeah, that's
And
bullshit.
6 months later, they're fucking. 3 months later, they're fucking dead. And I told them, don't ever mention that to me again. I've been through all of that. But if you have a conscience, how could you keep doing that? He said, what do you want me to do? Retire? I went to school for 8 years to get to this point. Just to get to this point. Now, what do you want me to do? It is what it is. I says, you realize that all the cancer organizations are private organizations. You understand that? Cancer Society, a private organization. They're all multimillionaires. You know that through the years, there were 2 or 3 alternative treatments that really cured cancer, and you threw these people out of the country and hit it. You know that. You particular, I gave you the film that's on YouTube with Dr. Burton and that other guy, the interview, and he explained the whole thing. I have 3 days of congressional hearings that prove that Gary Null, I got him an interview with Dr. Burton. So
yeah, I know Gary. I knew Gary. I went at the studio with him.
You can't talk to me about this stuff. And trust me, had I caught this earlier, you never would have cut me open, and I wouldn't have this. I would have been a Dr. Burton, and Dr. Burton, 50 years ago, 60 years ago, all his treatment was build up your own immune system, and your own immune system will kill anything and make you healthier at the same time from day one. And that's what he did. And only now are they starting to talk about, well, we have this new thing now. We're going to build your own immune system. So anyway, look, I just feel bad for all of them people. I get there and I get sick. I get sick, and I told the doc, don't you have a fucking conscience? There's a guy sitting there that I've been waiting for 2 hours. Besides, you got to wait. I'm sitting there for 2 hours. This poor guy sitting next to me with his wife, riddled with fucking pain, and she says, well, I can give you this pill, but we really shouldn't take it right now. It's got to wait another 2 hours, but I can't stand the pain no more. This poor fucking guy. And his wife is sitting there showing me pictures of them in Europe 2 years ago. The guy was beautiful, healthy, and everything else. And that, look at him now. And that's the guy that's going to come in here, and you're going to say, and you're going to hit him with, well, now they have a better kind of, it's not the chemo that it was years ago. We have better kind. We can pinpoint it. Get the fuck out of here. Just give me my test results and let me go. But thank God, the test results were good. But I try, and I hate to embarrass them like that, but you're a smart guy. Don't you have a conscience? Don't you know what you're doing? And they're, what do you want me to do? I spent a lot of money and spent a lot of years getting to this point, going to school and everything. What do you want me to do? And then I feel bad for putting them on the spot, but it is what it is. And thank God I don't have to go back there for 6 months. So, if I'm still alive in 6 months, but it's very, very fucking depressing. I think about it for days after, and that's the only godsend is this podcast that keeps me busy. The TV series and the movie thing rewrite keeps me busy. This thing I'm doing with the horses keeps me busy, and the phone calls I get from Manny every fucking morning keep me busy. So that's all I have to say. Anyway,
hey Larry, one thing. The guy that's your really good friend that died in the Bronx, who was introduced to you by me. You know that, right? I mean, you didn't mention that.
Yeah. You introduced me to Frank.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, we had a meet. You called me up and says, I'm playing at such and such a club. Come there tonight. Frank is going to be there.
Yeah, because he wanted to meet him because his brother was an Academy Award winning.
They wrote the movie Green Book.
Right.
So I drove out there and you were performing and I waited and the guy never showed up. I had my meal, I ate and everything. And then after it's over, after the show was over,
I asked you to pick him up.
I don't understand why he didn't come. He never disappoints me. And then we got a phone call from him. He was in a car accident on the highway. He was in his Jaguar got destroyed, and they dropped him off at one of the stations. And I went and picked him up at the station, brought him back.
I asked you to go and pick him up. Yeah.
And I went and picked him up, and that's how we met. And then he read my book and everything, and well, he knew about it. And then his brother came in. He told his brother he came in, and then we were talking about making the deal and everything. And then his brother came in, and I introduced him to the mayor of the town. We were talking about what actors we were going to have. We were talking about all locations. We got the mayor involved, or we can use this location. That we were doing everything. And then Frank calls me up one day and says, my brother has to go to California for 2 weeks to sign up with Pavarotti's daughter, who just died, to do his life story. And can I come and stay with you for the 2 weeks instead of staying in a hotel room by myself? I said, sure. That was Monday. Monday night, he never showed up. Tuesday, never showed up. Wednesday, no answer on the phone. Thursday, I get a phone call. They found him dead in the Bronx on his way to me.
After he abandoned my SUV that I lent to him. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that was before that. Yeah.
No, that was the same time. That's when he was found dead. He was found dead.
Anyway, it is
what are we talking about?
Frank Vallango, the guy. Him and his brother wrote Green Book. They won the
not Frank Vincent
for great best screenplay, best picture, best everything. He was a really good guy, but unfortunately, he was a drug addict.
He was on crack. He was on crack. We didn't know it, and he probably got crack laced with fentanyl because he kept going to the Bronx to buy it. He probably got it laced with fentanyl, and that killed him.
Yeah. So anyway, that's it. I'm done talking. I'm getting hoarse. Anyway, I got to change my position. I sit like that because the sciatica, I get a little relief. Now I sit this way for a while.
Larry, I don't know if you remember. I don't know if you remember the time when I told you my secret potion of not getting pneumonia or any shit.
Yeah,
like
I know.
that.
You told me. I still have it. Zinc, and I still have it. You tell me 4 things to take, and you says take these, and you'll never get sick. And you're right. And I still have them written down, and I still have them. I was taking them all the way up until the time I got this problem. And now
What is it? What is it, Trey?
Well, I use B12. I take B12 a couple of times a day. Zinc, D3, magnesium, not a multivitamin, a multi-trace vitamin I take of all trace minerals. Like we give electrolytes to the horses. That's what I take. It's almost like that. That's basically it. Yeah, basically it.
Zinc, B12, multivitamin, magnesium.
No, not a multivitamin. A multi-trace vitamin. They're trace minerals. Multi-trace minerals, actually.
Multi-trace
minerals. They're like electrolytes that you give to the horses. They're multi-trace minerals.
And it comes in a pill form?
Yeah, it comes in a pill form, yes. Yeah.
I gotta look into it.
Zinc,
yeah, that poor guy, that poor guy Frank probably died of fentanyl.
Yeah, they probably laced fentanyl because he was up in the Bronx with I lent him an SUV for a week, and then he was at Larry's house too. But he was using my SUV, and I lost the SUV. He abandoned it, and I lost the car. The guy there, because he needed a car. I didn't know he was on drugs. I really didn't know. So stupid me. I was around drug people all my life. I didn't know he was on drugs.
Wow. Hey, Larry, did you figure out who's going to play you in the movie?
No, not yet. I'm doing what I'm doing is I'm doing a 5-minute video of the boat scene, and I'm gonna probably get I don't want to mention their names. I got two guys that are going to play Sammy and Cabert. I'll get some young kid to play me because it got to be. It happened in the 70s, and I'm just going to shoot that 3-4 minute video. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? Here's what I'm going to do. Let's see if I have it here.
Yeah, let's see.
Is I'm going to read you. I'm going to read you the thing that I'm going to, because I know that you're going to.
Oh, my love. Sing it, Trey.
Yeah.
I got that on YouTube. I got a good version.
I love it. I love it too.
Look it up. Look it up on. Look my.
I love that. I love your version. I listen to it all the time.
You heard it. Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
Oh,
Thanks. Okay, yeah.
my love.
Yeah.
I
I do it more like the Al Hibbler.
Okay,
You know,
are you ready?
I'll tell you what, though.
Are you ready to hear what I wrote? What I'm going to film?
No.
Are you ready to hear it or not?
Yeah, we're ready. Go ahead, Larry. Go ahead.
Oh,
Yeah.
Greg,
Go ahead, Larry.
no. All right.
Don't worry about Greg.
Greg is sleeping. Go ahead.
Oh, I don't care. I don't care. Doesn't matter.
Okay. All right.
Do whatever you want.
Now listen. This is a voiceover. It starts with a voiceover.
Right.
A once respected horse trainer drowning in debt to a local mob boss creates the largest race fixing operation the nation has ever known.
Nice.
A sprawling network that spiraled into a nationwide web of rigged outcomes and coordinated race day sabotage, all born from one single meeting and one desperate deal. October 1972, in a dimly lit coffee shop in Atlantic Highlands in New Jersey, sits Robert Cabert Versace, a captain in New York's Gambino crime family. Cabert was a psychopath and had a reputation as a guy who made his bones as a ruthless killer and was the boss of organized crime's New Jersey crew. He was sitting there smoking a stogie and sipping an espresso. Also at the table were two of Cabert's men. Standing facing Cabert was Little Sammy and the underboss of Cabert's crew and horse trainer Larry Rolla. At that point, Cabert looks up at Larry and he says, "Welcome back. Looks like Florida was good to you. You look like a movie star. Now that you're back, I got to ask you a question. How the fuck could you do what you did? What the fuck were you thinking? You know me. You know who I am. You know what I do. For more than a year, there was never a problem between us, and there ain't nothing you could have come to me with that we couldn't work out or fix, including this. But instead, you pulled a scumbag move. You left town and took a shot at me. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. Now you owe me $360,000 that you don't have. I don't know why, but Sammy let you go too far, and that's on him. You went too far, and that's on you. Now you tell me why I shouldn't put you in a bucket of cement and throw you in the middle of the fucking ocean." Larry stands there in place, deflated, and he answers, "Because I can pay. You're right. I ran out of cash and I took a shot, but I can pay." Gilbert looks at Sammy, his underboss, and says, "Sammy, did you hear that? Did you hear this?" And I got to turn the page. Hold it. He says, "Sammy, did you hear this?" And Sammy says, "I heard it, boss, and I let him get to this point, but we got more than $1 million of his money, and he was never late. So when he says he can pay, I believe him. He's in big action and controls a lot of the races at the tracks around here." Cabert looks at Larry and says, "Okay, you say you can pay? So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make that $360,000 you owe me a Shylock loan. 2 points a week until you got my $360,000. Do you understand what I'm saying?" Larry, "I understand." Cabert, that's $7,200 vig every week till you got my 360. You miss 1 week and you won't have to worry about the next. Larry, I understand. Voiceover. The deal wasn't about greed or fear of prison. It was pure survival. What follows is a true story of one man's ride through the tainted world of horse racing, a world riddled with greed, corruption, celebrities, drugs, sex, and the mob. That's the video. That will take less than probably 5 minutes to shoot, and that's what I'm gonna present instead of a 5-6 page synopsis. It's going to be a video that I could send through the computer. I could send it through an email, and it'll just be better.
Much better.
I'm going to get professional actors to play the main part, Sammy and Kabert. And I'm not going to get Armin Asante, because I promised him that if we do the movie that he would play Kabert, and I would just extend the part for him. So I don't want to get him for this, because I'm going to present this to 2 major studios, and they may not want to use Kabert. So I just got to use unknown actors that play the part. And it's important to me that I get a guy that plays Kabert that has a New York accent, looks like a fucking psychopath, and when you get these regular street guys that play mob guys, which is the life that they're in, when they just sit there, just their motions, it's not so much the words, but you could tell just by the motions and the way they move their hands and everything else that what they're saying is real, and don't fuck with this guy, where an actor would just basically sit there and say the words. So that's the kind of guy, and I found him. In fact, I spoke with him today, and now we're just going to put together a date when we can do this. It's only going to be total 3, 4, 5 hours. I'll have 3 cameras. I'll have a lighting crew there, and it'll be done professionally, and it's going to be in dimly lighted nightclub in the corner. And that's what's going to be the synopsis for that thing. So I'm working on that. I'm working on so many things. That's why I went on that rant with the doctors here, the doctors there, the cancer, the back, the this, the that. And I don't have time for this. It's just too much. And then when you're riddled with pain, it makes things a whole lot tougher. But what'd you think of my where'd Manny go? What'd you think of that little thing I put together? You like it?
Hold on 1 second.
Yeah,
I
like
like
Larry.
it. Yeah, I like it, Larry. I think it'll be great.
Okay. All right.
I want to know how you came up with $7,200 a week, though.
It wasn't 7,200, because what I didn't put in there, that was just for Kabert. I did the same thing with Barney Cutler and old Meyer Lansky, wise guy in Monticello. So I used to bet with both of them the same thing. I bet 20,000 a game with both of them. That was my limit with both of them. So on a Saturday, I'd bet 20,000 a game, and I might bet 8, 9, 10 games on a Sunday, and I bet with both of them. So the 360,000 that I lost when I went to Florida, I ran out of money, and then I ran away and took a shot. It was double that, because I had to go back and make the same deal with Barney. But the difference between Barney and Kabert was a stone killer. Barney was an 80-year-old old Meyer Lansky Jewish guy who really liked me and fell in love with the girl that was my partner, that was my right arm, and he fell in love with her. She used to take care of him, and he used to beg me all the time, stop, but I never would stop. So when I had to go make the deal with him, I made the same exact deal. I says to Gina, I says, go tell him I have no money. I'm back, but I have no money. And this is the deal I made, and will he accept the deal? And naturally, he accepted the deal. But so it wasn't 70. I had to come up with 15,000 a week back in 1970. And if you read the book, you'll understand how I did it. And that's the story. It wasn't easy coming up. My father was making $40 a week at the time, and I had to come up with 16,000 a week just just to live, not counting rent and not counting going out every night, not counting nothing else. It wasn't easy. It was difficult. And at that time, I had nobody I can go to. And even when you're in that situation, there's nobody you could go to, because even if I went to, no matter who I went to, they would go to sit down for me and say, does he owe you this money? Yeah. How does he owe it to you? And then the only way you can beat the rap is if the guy you want to save him, you pay me, and the guy would be right. So you guys can't get nobody to stick up for you, and you got to be a real asshole to have some wise guy go to bat for you, knowing that you're wrong. You can't win. So there was nobody I could go to. So I had to pay. That's why I say I won the races I had to win and lose the race I had to lose. Now, if I would have used, like some people say, Jesus Christ, you got beat with this horse. He was 3-5, and you got beat. Why don't you put Campbell or somebody on? Because I would be dead. Because they would win the race and I'd be dead. So I did what I had to do. Am I proud of it? No. But I had an addiction that caused me to do that, but I still blame it on Tannenbaum, and I'm not going to get into that. And I said as much as I'm going to say. That's it.
And still no ivermectin.
John Higgins says, Greg, grab the microphone, please. Larry. Greg's done. Greg said what he wanted to say.
Greg, we got to get you in the movie.
Nah, I get more,
Manny, you got to listen to All My Tomorrows.
Manny, where do you live? North Jersey or where?
I'm on Long Island.
New York.
Long Island.
No,
Near Garden City?
Not too far. About 10 minutes away.
Yeah. Okay.
Manny, you got to listen
Jerry
to All My Tomorrows.
Jerry Silva's wedding was at the Garden City Hotel there. That's where I stayed. It's nice.
Jerry Silva, the pharmaceutical guy?
Jerry Silva, when he got married to Teresa, yeah. That owns all the horses.
Yeah.
Pieces. He owns a lot of pieces, huh? Ray got mad at him. I think Ray put him out. I'm pretty sure Ray told me he put him out. I think he did. Get mad at him.
He's still around, Jerry. He's still moving around pretty good, too.
Oh, yeah. No, he loves the business. Loves the business.
What were you going to say, Trey?
Manny, listen to All My Tomorrows, my version of All My Tomorrows, and also my version of Impossible Dream.
Oh, that's a great song. The Impossible Dream.
Yeah. One of my partners in the music business used to be, wrote that. His name was Mitch Lee. Yeah, he wrote that.
Yeah. That's a great song.
Yeah.
The most impossible dream.
Yeah, check my version of it out. It's a good version.
The Unchained Melody is really good, though.
I'm glad you like it. Thank you. It's a special.
You gave a different twist.
Yeah, I gave it a different arrangement. Yeah, most of the mine are like that.
That's been around a long time.
My Moon River is real good too. I'm doing a lot of standards.
Hey, Larry, why don't you get some of the guys in Gravesend to play in the movie?
Well, that's who I'm going to get.
Oh.
I was on the phone with them today. But it's a funny situation because all them guys, they're all struggling actors. There's no movies being made. They all want to work, but they all have SAG cards. And when you have SAG cards, you really can't do non-union stuff.
Right.
You have to get paid. It becomes very involved. And I talked to a couple of them today, and I said, listen, this is a little bullshit thing that I'm doing. I don't want you to jeopardize your career by doing it. I'll pay you the day rate, which is probably $300, $400, $500, the SAG rate for a day for like a little mini thing like what I'm doing. I said, but I don't want you to get in trouble for this. So think about it. And they all says, no problem. No problem. Two of them said they do it for nothing. One might want to get paid. Well, whatever it is, it is. So, they don't mind doing it because of the exposure. And this is going to get exposed to, and maybe if a big operation picks up the movie and they see these guys that play parts, they might they might hire them because
Whatever happened with Donnie Wahlberg?
he's out of town. He's out of the country until May. So he's one of the people I'm gonna get this to. But there's three major companies that. But Wahlberg is good because he wants real stories that are real life stories. That's why he did the Greg Scarpa thing, because it was a real life story. And he likes to do TV series too, and mine would be a great TV series.
When is the Greg Scarpa series movie coming out, though?
I don't know. It might be. I don't know. I know they finished it because I met with his daughter, and it's all done because she was the advisor with Mark Wahlberg. And she's home. In fact, I had dinner with her in Staten Island, where she lives, and she said that he's interested, but he's out of the country. He's on location for a few more months. So, but I have 2 or 3 other people, but I can't make a move because I gave my word to 2 people that they and I did that because of the cancer, and I didn't know if I'd be around or whatever. So I gave my word that they could do whatever they want for that. But if I survive, you got till the end of the year. So at the end of the year, all my commitments I made, even though nothing was signed, it was just a handshake. So after the first of the year, I'm putting things together to make these pitches to these guys. Then it's all on me. And if I strike out with all of these guys, then hopefully this horse thing that I did will make me enough money where I'll make my own movie. So that's the plan. So
Larry, if I was 10 years younger, I'd get a good cinematographer and we do the movie ourselves.
Oh, I got one already. I have all of that set up. The only thing I need is the money. I just got to get the money, but I'm not even trying to get the money now because first I'm going to exhaust the 3 or 4 good leads that I have, and but if they don't work out, and by that time maybe the thing with the horses will work, I'll fund my own. I'll fund my own movie. This way I could put in whoever I want, and I have complete control. I already have foreign distributors. I have everything in place. All I need is the movie, and I got to wait till the end of the year. So I've been working on everything, 15 different things at one time, but everything is fallen into place.
Well, I've done it before, but it's a very big undertaking.
Oh, I know.
Big undertaking.
I know. I helped. Look, that movie that's right on YouTube now. You could look. You could watch it. It's a great movie. Once Upon a Time in Queens.
Very good. I watched it. It was very good.
It's on YouTube. We made that.
It's very, very good. If anybody wants to watch it, watch it. It's well worth watching. We
made that movie for under $1 million, and we made it in 3 weeks for under $1 million. And it's a good movie. But we made it non-union, made it for under $1 million, and it wasn't take after take after take after take. The most we did was 1 or 2 takes on some scenes, but most of the time it was straight ahead. The actors were great. It was Paul Savino, Mike Rappaport, Charles Palminteri, even though he had a real small part in it. But I was there. It was Alfred's daughter who made the movie. I was with her every step of the way. It was very, very interesting, and was made for under $1 million. And I have a guy right now, a good friend of mine, Kevin, who just finished making 53 movies this year already. He just finished, and he makes all of these $800,000 movies, $1 million movies, and they're all really good. And he told me that for $1 million, $1 million is the way where anything over $1 million, you basically got to go union. And but under $1 million, you don't have to go union, and you save a lot of money, and you're in control. And he already has all foreign distributors. He has everything in place, and he does very, very well. So that's the last thing. I would like to do that. I would like to have total control and hire the actors that I want, because I could really, just with the actors alone, very much like Charles Palminteri did with the Bronx Tale. He 90% of them people were street kids, no actors. And it was all them guys in the crap scenes and the racetrack scenes. They were all guys from the streets, from the Bronx. So I would like to get I would like to do it myself and hire a real good director. In fact, Kevin is the director.
Let me ask you this:
What?
Where would you have the time? You got a bad back. Okay, you got a movie on the go. You got the hoods on the go. There's one more thing.
Well, the bad back was taken care of. As of tomorrow, I'll be fine.
You get three things on the go: the movie. What else? The hood.
The movie, the horse thing.
There's
the hood,
one more, isn't there? One more.
And rewriting the TV series in the event. I already have 15 episodes written out. We already have that, but I'm sure it's going to be changed. See, that's the problem. I have a screenplay. It's 120 pages, 400 voiceovers. If this thing gets bought, and I don't want to rewrite it, it's only the first draft. I don't want to rewrite. If I rewrite it, it'll be 10 times better. But I know that no matter how many times I rewrite it and how much better it is, once I sell it to a big organization, they're going to change everything. So I'm just going to.
You know what they might even want to change? I was thinking.
What?
You'd have to make it thoroughbreds, not standardbreds, because nobody will know what they are.
Well, 90% of what I did was with the thoroughbreds.
No, I'm talking the fixed races. I'm talking.
That's all with the thoroughbreds.
Oh, okay, good. Because I could say a lot of them, they wouldn't know what the harness racing was. They'd immediately turn it off. They're not interested in it.
It's all of what I did is in the newspapers. It's all in the newspaper. All the jockeys and names and everything. In fact, I was just notified of this last week, and me and Manny were talking about it. Something on YouTube, something where it says, I think that, and somebody sent it to me. I didn't even know about this. My whole life, they put it in the Mobsters Control Racing or something like that. It's on YouTube. And they gave it to me. I sent it to Joe, and I sent it to Anthony. And I says, investigate this. And they did. And they found out it was some organization that got together and got all the information from newspapers, from all the cops and everything else. And they put together this 25-minute thing about my whole life, when it started. And now they got a couple of things a little mixed up and everything else. But I don't know how the hell they did it. I have it. And the first day that nobody shows up on this podcast, I'm going to play it instead of having to, like, say Thursday, you don't call me, nobody calls, and I just sit by myself. I'll just play this. I says, here's for your entertainment. For those of you who hasn't read the book or seen any of the podcasts. So I have it. And it's very interesting. It's all newspaper clippings and articles and everything else. And a lot of it is, they got the years wrong. They got a lot of things wrong, but it's pretty accurate. So but 99% of all the big money was with the thoroughbreds. I had 4 good, 3-4 year run with the thoroughbreds. That's what the whole thing is about. If it wasn't for that, who's interested in the last race being faked every night at Monticello?
Yeah, right.
Who gives a shit about that? How much money could you make?
Nobody.
I had to come up with 15,000, 16,000 a week. Couldn't do that in Monticello in a year. So anyway, I talked an awful lot.
Larry, what's the name of the video? I want to look it up.
I don't know. It's something about mobsters. I don't know. Mobsters Control Racing or something like that. I told you this morning to call up Anthony, and he would tell you the name of it. I don't remember. But
The
you
name
know
of what?
there's somebody
Name of
put
the video.
a video out, story of the whole thing. But I don't remember the name.
Larry, how did you ever get into writing a movie? There's an interesting question.
Well, what happened was when I was convinced to write the book. I wrote the book first. All right. Then the book they sent for me right away. When they sent for me, we signed the contract after 6 months of going back and forth. We signed the contract, and it was going to be $100 million movie. Okay. Then when we all met, me, Pileggi, and all of us, we met at Peter Luger's. Everybody was introduced. Everybody made a deal to fly out to California in February of 2020. We fly out to California to sign all the contracts and me to pick up my $2.5 million. And the whole airport is closed. COVID happened, and all of California shut down. That stage shut down for 2 years. After 2 years, we got back into action, and they asked me to resign. I wouldn't resign because they couldn't tell me when we would start up again. So at that time, the Valalongo brothers, who Trade introduced me to, they wanted to do the movie. We made all the arrangements and everything else, and then the guy kills himself. So that happened. Now, after he kills himself, then the guy, Barry O'Brien, who writes for Law and Order and Blue Bloods and all of that, he calls me up. He read my book. He wants to do a TV series. He wrote 38 TV. If you look up Barry O'Brien, he wrote 38 TV series that he wrote, produced. He's a very, very wealthy guy. And he wants to do the TV series. He says, fly out and meet me May 5th. I fly out May 5th, and he says, we can't do nothing. The writers just went on strike. That lasted for 9 months. After 9 months, he says, we have to wait, not only because the whole market's flooded now, but the actors are going on strike tomorrow morning. Then the actors went on strike. Then your unions went on strike. Then everything went on strike. During this time, the people from Sony said, being that you're not signing this and you're going to try to do it yourself, I'm going to send you over this kid. He's a screenwriter. He won he's a young kid. He's just out of college. He won all the screenwriting contests and everything. He's brilliant. He's going to be the next Scorsese. He says, I'll introduce him to you. He lives right around your area. His name is Mitch. So he come over the house, and he come over, and we've become very good friends. And me and him sat down, and we wrote the screenplay. And that's how the screenplay came about.
Where's Mitch now?
Trade deal.
Mitch now calls me. He called me the other day, and he wants to do something with. And I didn't quite understand it, but he wants to do something like these mini things on TikTok and everything, where we get millions of followers, and make a lot of money doing that pertaining to the horses. He says, "Can you get on racetracks? Can you get here training centers and there? Can you talk about just like we're doing now, only shorter versions of it?" And he says that's the hottest thing now. That's the newest thing.
It's
now.
true. It's true.
So
what's the hottest thing?
TikTok, very short stuff on TikTok. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So anyway, that's
TikTok
it.
videos. Oh, my love. Trey loves it. Look at him. He loves it, Trey.
Listen, I'm doing this land is mine. God gave this land to me. Exodus. I'm doing a great version of Exodus. You'll hear it.
This land is your land. This is my land.
That's my manager, and in the early '60s, wanted me to record that constantly. That one, yeah. This land is your land. This land is my land. Yeah.
My land, from California to the New York Island.
Yeah. Yeah,
What?
it's a good song. Good song. That guy's a commie or something. They said he was a commie in this. The guy who wrote it. I forget
Really?
his name. Yeah, Greg, you know his name? The guy that wrote that? Oh, Greg, he left us. He left
No, I'm
us.
here.
Greg is there.
Oh, is he?
I'm back.
Hey, Greg,
Back.
who wrote "This Land Is Your Land, This Land Is My Land"? Who wrote that?
I don't know who wrote it.
I don't know.
That's why we're asking you,
You know
Greg.
the name. I can't think of it right now, but I
From
thought you would know that.
California
Yeah,
to the New York Island,
yeah.
of the Gulf Stream waters. This land is
made for you
shady
and
for
me.
you and me.
Yeah.
You know it's another good song?
What?
I can't think of the name of it. It's I Ain't Gonna Jump No More. It's an
Yeah.
it's an army song. Hold on. He ain't. Hold on, I'm gonna look it up.
When you said that,
Gory, 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 gory. What a hell of a way to go. You know that song?
no, I never heard it. No, sounds
Oh
very
my God!
unfamiliar.
You never about the
Swear to
World
God.
War II about the World War II paratroopers.
Oh yeah, I'll look it up. Let me see.
Gory, gory, and I ain't gonna jump no more.
When you said I ain't gonna, I got a song out. Well, which I didn't do. Joe Tex originally did it, but I did a version of it. It's called "Ain't Gonna Bump No More with No Big Fat Woman." It's a good record. Ain't gonna bump no more with no big fat woman. Ain't gonna bump no more with no big fat woman. Yeah.
Right back.
What is Larry doing over there?
I'm looking for that thing that maybe they'll show the name of it. So keep talking. Let me
Oh,
find
you mean
this.
the video, the mob video?
Yeah, I want to. Yeah, I want to watch that video.
Well, Larry said he's going to put it up. Larry, you said you have it, right?
I do have it.
So now, so you can find it. Just look at it, and you'll see the title of it.
No,
But I
there's
mean,
no
I know you're not
title.
going to.
I'm gonna show it to you. Wait, let me just find it.
Trey, did you ever meet Elvis?
No, I never met Elvis. My partner did. My partner, well, who was my first manager, wrote "Wear My Ring Around Your Neck." Won't you wear my ring around your neck? He wrote that. So he met with Elvis one
Around
time.
Ron Nick.
Yeah. And I did some Elvis demos, but he never did any of the songs that I did demos on. You know, I remember doing a demo.
Really?
Only 17. It was hopes and dreams. How to keep you by my side. What was that?
All right, here it is. Here it is. Now let me
Right.
see. It's right here. It says Mafia Race Fixing, but I don't know. Let me see something. Now keep quiet. Let me see if it plays. I'll put it up here.
Gory, gory, what a hell of a way to go. You got it there, Larry, or what?
Yeah, I have it.
Well, keep it quiet, Larry. Go ahead.
Wait a minute. I'm trying to get it to play. Wait a minute. Oh, I didn't have the sound on. Hold on.
1975.
Hold it.
Money
Okay.
and the outcome. And no one noticed.
Wait a minute.
An English guy, huh? Is doing a voiceover?
Here it is.
Money and the outcome. And no one noticed until millions had already been stolen. If you love stories about corruption, greed, and the hidden networks that ran American sports, stick around. This one goes deeper than you think. Cherry Hill, New Jersey, February 8, 1975, 3:47 p.m. 9 horses line up for the 9th race at Garden State Park. The favorite is held back. The long shot crosses first. A trifecta ticket pays $5,394 on a $2 bet. Somewhere in the crowd, 5 men.
The hell happened here?
Yeah, what happened? That was good.
Men collect $80,000 in winnings. They split the cash. No one at the track suspects a thing. This is not luck. This is business. The operation began 3 years earlier. Boston, May 24th, 1972. Joe Barboza sits before a congressional committee. 2 U.S. Marshals flank him. 2 more face the crowd. Additional marshals block every door. Barboza wears dark glasses. A Manchu mustache curls down over stubble. A cigarette juts from his mouth as he takes the oath.
What happened?
Barboza is a former mob enforcer.
Oh, there you go.
The mafia calls him the Portuguese Savage. They put a $300,000 contract on his life. He is linked to 24 murders. He is serving 5 years to life for conspiracy to commit murder. He is now a government witness. He tells the committee that half the horses racing in New England are owned by front men for the mob. He names names. Raymond Patriarca, Henry Tameleo. Both are in prison because of him. Barboza explains how the system works. Jockeys frequent mob-owned bars. The Ebb Tide Lounge in Revere, Massachusetts. Arthur's Market in Boston. They drink. They run up tabs. They take loans. When they cannot pay, the mob steps in. This guy was at the Ebb Tide one night, Barboza says. I came on strong. I told him, "You're a big man, everybody caters to you, but you owe $1,500. How come you haven't paid it? I'm not catering to you." When I said that, I pulled out a knife. Then another mobster rushes in. He says he will pay the jockey's debt. He tells Barboza to leave the jockey alone. The jockey feels grateful. He owes a favor now. After that, Barboza testifies, the jockey starts pulling horses for the mob. Jockeys were wined and dined, given the best girls, allowed to run up a big tab, Barboza says. If they couldn't pay up, they'd wind up pulling horses. The habit was to slow down 3 or 4 good horses in the same race and bet on long shots. Barboza names 5 jockeys at Suffolk Downs in East Boston. Only one name is made public, Marshall Wilder. Wilder is later banned from racing. The others are Puerto Rican or Argentinian. Barboza does not remember their names. The investigation expands. Federal authorities begin looking at tracks across the country. They discover patterns. Strange betting, favorites losing, long shots winning. Computer records show anomalies. New York, March 5th, 1974. Aqueduct Racetrack. 9th race, Jose Amy rides Prince Stoic. The horse is the 2-1 favorite. Amy is 26 years old. He is 5 feet 3 inches tall. He weighs 110 pounds. He was born in Santurce, Puerto Rico. He became the leading apprentice at El Comandante Racetrack in San Juan in 1972. He came to New York in 1973. Earlier that day, a man approached Amy in the jockey's room. The man is Con Errico. Errico is 52 years old. He is a former jockey. He rode his first race in 1946 at age 24. He once won the 1949 Travers Stakes on a horse named Arise.
I
He was
remember him.
suspended 50 times for rough riding. He suffered injuries to his hips, ribs, and pelvis. Everyone calls him Scamp. Errico no longer races. In 1972, he took only 2 mounts. In 1973, 1. In 1974, 11. His total purse earnings in those years barely exceed $900, but he maintains his jockey's license. The license gives him access to...
Now, just before I keep playing it, Con Errico is Anthony, who's on this podcast. That's his uncle. And that's the guy that Manny Ukaza introduced me to, that I put him with my guy, Tony Shula, to fix all these races in New York. So now you know where the connection is.
Wow, that's wild. That's really wild.
to every
Con
jockey
Errico, I remember the
jockey
name.
in New York. Errico offers Amy $500 to hold Prince Stoic. Amy has refused Errico before. This time, Errico threatens him. Amy agrees. Prince Stoic finishes 6th. The trifecta pays. Bettors who box the long shots win. Bettors who back the favorite lose. The money flows through bookmakers connected to organized crime, New York. December 31st, 1974. Aqueduct, 9th race. At the betting windows, $84,000 is wagered. The bets box every horse in the trifecta, except those ridden by Jean Cruguet and Braulio Baeza. The betting pattern is deliberate. The pattern is designed to eliminate the favorites. The race runs. The long shots finish in the money. The trifecta hits. The payout is massive. The $84,000 bet loses. But somewhere other bets win far more. Federal investigators later identify this race as part of a coordinated scheme. They begin building a case. The mastermind is Anthony Ciulla. People call him Big Tony. He is 6 feet 3 inches tall.
That's
He
Tony
weighs
Ciulla.
350 pounds. He began his operation in New England. He expanded along the East Coast. He once bragged that he fixed races in every racing state except California. Ciulla pays jockeys between $3,000 and $10,000 per race. He instructs them to hold their horses. He bets on long shots. The payoffs are enormous. When I was in business, we hit 99% of the races we set up, Ciulla later says. We controlled the infrastructure. Ciulla works with intermediaries. In New York, his main contact is Con Erico. Erico approaches jockeys in the jockeys' rooms. He makes offers. He threatens those who refuse. One jockey fails to hold his horse. The horse wins the race instead of finishing out of the money. Ciulla is furious. I smacked him every which way but loose. Ciulla later testifies to a grand jury in Detroit. Between 1972 and 1975, Ciulla fixes hundreds of races. He operates at tracks in Massachusetts, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Maryland, and New York. His network includes jockeys, trainers, bookmakers, and organized crime figures. The races are exactas and trifecta.
Anyway, I can't play the whole thing. But anyway,
Does he mention your name, Larry?
No, he don't mention my name. The reason he don't mention my name is this is what Anthony found out, that all of this information he got from Wikipedia or newspapers or stuff like that. A lot of these things he said in the beginning were not true, had nothing to do with other things. He just kind of mashed them together. And at the end of this, he talks about Lincoln Downs. He talks about Whitey Bulger. He talks about, in other words, he got everything backwards. He got stuff that happened in 75. He got in the beginning, stuff that happened in 71. He got at the end. But from that point on, he starts to get more serious, talking about all New York guys. And he mentioned one race where it was only Baeza. We had 4 guys in that race that were dead. So they don't know whatever information they got from dribs and drabs from all around. Some of it was, and that's what Anthony found out. Anthony investigated the whole thing, and what they found out about Con Erico, which is his uncle, is exactly what's on Wikipedia about him. And but they never could connect how Tony Ciulla, who fixed the races for Whitey Bulger in New England, how the fuck did he get up here? Well, how he got up here was through me, because we met in Lincoln Downs, and that's how we got up here. How did he meet Con Erico? Through me. How did I meet Con Erico? Through Manny Ukaza. So they don't know all of the inside stuff. They only know what's in the paper. So that's why the only names they mentioned was Con Erico, who went to jail for 8 years for failing to cooperate. He wouldn't cooperate. He's the only one that really put me away, but he didn't say a word. He took the rap. He went to jail. When he come out of jail, they did Anthony. In fact, Anthony has the tape. He's the only one that has the tape, and the only reason we don't play we interviewed him after he got out of jail. He spent 5 or 6 years in jail, and he tells the whole story. But his son, who owns a big car dealership in Washington, I think, he's going to make a movie, and he says, please don't, So we never, as much as we already said, that's all we're going to say, and so he don't want us to play but we do have the interview. So
is Con Erico still alive though? Is he still alive?
No, he died.
Oh, he died.
That's Anthony's uncle.
Uh-huh.
Anthony's uncle, and he has 3 sons. One is in jail. One just got off just last week on a murder charge. He just beat it. And the other one is very successful car dealership, and I think it's Washington or someplace down there. And it was
Larry, who's Tony Capri?
who?
Tony
I didn't-
Capra?
Okay.
No, it's he got the name wrong. It's Tony Schuler. He changed that name when he got arrested. They put him in a witness protection program. He changed his name to Tony Capri or something like that. But that's Tony Schuler, big fat foot, who I dealt with. That's the guy I sent converted.
Tony Schuler became a rat?
Yeah. He got caught up. He tried to fix races. He was running away from me because Spilatro sent Frank Collada and 3 other guys up to find him. We found him twice, beat the shit out of him because he stopped calling me because I was staying in Monticello. They were like my runners. He was supposed to call me. And every once in a while he'd run. I needed to make 15, 20, 30,000 a week back then. So I needed him. And then it's a long story. I ain't going to go into all of it. Anyway, yeah, he become a rat. He got caught trying to fix races up at Hazel Park. Hazel Park was owned by the Detroit mob, who was my friends. I tried to sell that racetrack, but before I got it sold, I almost got it sold. Before I got it sold, they were watching that whole crew, the whole Detroit crew, and Tony Schuler running away from me went up there trying to fix races, not knowing it was controlled by the whole mob, and he got caught in the sweep, and that's how he eventually got caught. It's a big long fucking story. It gets so involved. That's why Spilatro. That's why Nicholas Pileggi wanted to make it a TV series. There's so much involved in it. Anyway, that's it. I got to end this because my back is killing me. We've been doing this now.
Where you going?
Why?
I just came back. I had a little break. I'm back.
We just got started. Yes, Greg is back. Okay, come on. I'll continue, Greg. All right.
You don't care about your back or your back that you said is nothing. Your back.
He's all freshened up now. Look.
Here's what I wanted to say though, while I'm on the phone. Larry, you've lived life. I
sure have. That's why I have very little tolerance of patience for nonsense and bullshit.
Well, what's interesting is everything you say with such conviction. If it's not true, it sure sounds and looks like it is.
Well, you know what's great about this podcast? That I said a lot of things through the year or two that I did on this podcast. And every once in a while, somebody comes up like Michael LaChance. Who would ever believe the story that I told about the first year at Lincoln Downs? That I won with a horse that I high-nerved 6 months ago, 6 months before that could, and I'm not going to go through the whole story. And after six months of training and taught him how to use that fucking leg because I nerved him above the knee. And for 3-4 months, he wore a keg shoe with toe weights just so the weight would bring the leg straight down and he wouldn't fall. Little by little, I got him back. Well, we went to Lincoln, and I told that story that the last race of the meet at Lincoln Downs, for the first time, I tried to race him. I raced him, and I went the first quarter in 26-1, went a mile in 1:56, broke Adios Butler's world New England record. Who would believe that story? Finally, months later, who comes on the show? Michael LaChance. Who was at Lincoln Downs that year? Michael LaChance. Who verified that story and who was in the race? Michael LaChance and Henry.
Yeah, I saw him say it. Yeah.
Verified that story. That was an unbelievable story that nobody.
Well, listen, I'll have to get him on interview because I'd have some fun. The last time I talked to him, I said to Ronnie Pierce last night, the last time I talked to Mike, we were on the phone for 1 hour and 45 minutes. So we go back a ways too, huh?
Yeah.
But you know, he's a straight shooter. Like he's really, you know, and I'll tell you what, unlike a lot of us, he planned well for the future, Mike. Where Mr. Peck and Mr. Rolla really didn't plan as well as they should have.
Well,
Correct?
the lawyers got all my money. The lawyers got it. After
You're
I lost all
I
the
got a
money
little bit of that happen too. Yeah.
in the 70s, I was doing great from 78 to 84. I made millions. I owned 7 homes. I owned that barn, $1 million in Sunshine Meadows. I had over 100 horses in trainings, including the 2-year-olds. And I was doing great. And then that race come up where I refused to give up the guys that fixed the race. I wasn't in the race. I wasn't even racing horses there. And I refused to give them up, and I got barred for life and lost everything. I fought at 3 different states with 3 powerful law firms. And it went on for 2 years. It cost me a couple of $1 million, and I wound up losing everything, and I lost everything. And I wound up on a bench.
Mm-hmm. Yes, keep talking, Larry.
No, I'm all done. That's it. The park bench story. That's it. I'm not going to go into that. So, if it ever gets made a movie or TV series, it's going to be great because it involves everything from Whitey Bulger to Tony Latro to Nicky Barnes to John Gotti to
great job, bye-bye.
On and on and on and on. And it involves if you take The Godfather, Goodfellas, Casino, Bronx Tale, and Wall Street, and put them all together, that's my life story. And nothing like what I did.
You mentioned something about the lawyers, right? Between me and I have a friend who very well educated. She actually got her law degree from the University of London, and I don't mean Ontario either. And then she got an undergrad from University of France and an MBA from where they have the vet clinic in New York, Manny. What's the university? If you got to send one of the University of New York, what's the name of it? What?
What, in Syracuse?
I don't know.
The one in
Yeah,
Syracuse?
up around there. No. What's
Cornell?
No, it's an Ivy
Cornell?
League school.
Cornell.
Yeah, Cornell. Cornell, he's right.
Cornell.
Cornell. Yeah.
Yeah, I went there once. Yeah.
Anyway, if you're asking me about why I don't operate as a beer, like the sum total, what I did would really add up to fuck all. Excuse, I've never cursed on here, but until tonight. But little things like for those, do you know that the Marcus Miller race, it got like 29,000 views, more than Muscle Hill got, because it was me, whatever it is. Oh, and a couple of things. If they had the camera, they said they did it, but they would have seen where he came back out, and then I was just getting out of the way, and we actually collided. But nothing happened. The ones that were behind us, Sarah Svan said it made a break, didn't get out of the way, scattered them, but they sent me back to last, never showed the replay. I've never seen that in my life, especially when I finished second. So when you're on the board, they got to show the replay. For the public, they have to. They didn't. Then when we go to the hearing, I get the lawyer. I had a couple of them. And he said, you know what? We listened to the hearing that you had with the judges, and everything you said was true, and then some. So what happened was Manny's gone now. Get him back. With the lawyers, when we get into the appeal, they didn't play the hearing. So in other words, there would be no new evidence. So then you'd have to appeal the appeal like it just goes on. And then the New Jersey one, well, forget about it. They said, I did this, I did that. I wasn't. Yeah. So, I mean, Larry, I'm just saying when you talked about the lawyers, like it's just, or take like with me, as I said, I tell my boys, maybe in 60 years, someday, they'll look back and say, that asshole there, I'll tell you what, they can say what they want about him, but he had a trotter that could fucking fall down and get up and beat any other 3-year-old trotter in history. How do you like that? I think he could fall down. Don't you trade? You saw him like Hervé and Ted Wade said they never saw a trotter come around the last turn that fast. It was like Hervé said there wouldn't be a pacer go by him, and all Sears did was boop, boop. They had it on NBC. The next year, they opened NBC because now I got Holiday Road as the favorite. I bridged right over to Getting Gaming in New Jersey. They all came over and thanked me. Right on that, imagine what that spot would cost. And now, look what they've done to me. So, it is what it is. So why would I want to, I'm not somebody who should be a beard. I could see if I had a positive, but I don't. You laugh at this. Richard O'Donnell said to me, why do you every year you tick off you had a positive? Because I did. I said, he says, no, you didn't. I said, I went all over America and I give speeches for a living as well. And told him how when I got Lone Ranger, he was distant 2 months, and I put him on 5 milliliters of Winstrol, which was the approved by the Food and Drug Administration. Now it's 2 years later. He's got to go down to Chester to race in a free for all. And the vet says, you can't give Winstrol. I said, no. I said, I've done seminars for the Racing Officials Accreditation Program at Sam Houston Park. I did that. I did the racing commissioners. They're after the cocktails. This is a prescription because they had after Ben Johnson won the Olympics, all the vets they had to get a prescription. Now, before you get bottles of equipoise, which no, now you get 5 ml. He comes up high. So Richard O'Donnell said to me, so he throws the paper at me to show me I got a warning. I didn't get a positive, and I said, now I know why I never get any horses. It's because I don't get positives. The most of them, you'll appreciate this, Manny. They want a guy who's getting positives. And you ever notice they can have 100 positives and they don't leave them. Right? I don't think shit. You know what? Mm-hmm. In my lifetime, Schnittger never had a positive. In his lifetime, maybe he did. I shouldn't speak, but he's another one. I don't think so. He's a good and the wife, a very good vet. Janet, a very good vet, but won't do anything. She'll say, don't do this, kid. I remember when she'd be in the paddock. So I'm just telling you, there's a few of us around, but not too many. They'd like to see you with a bunch of positive tests. And so Richard O'Donnell, he died shortly after that, by the way. Yeah, he was the stage steward for years in New Jersey. But there you go. Yeah, so you could give the dog, you could take your dog to the vet clinic and you could give the dog 5 ml of Winstrol, but you can't give it to the horse.
Dick O'Donnell.
What I did with Lone Ranger, I called Chicago, Balmoral, and I told them, I said, it's a prescription. It would be unfair now if I didn't give it to him. It isn't fair. So I want to race him one more time, but I have Muscle Hill. I supplemented Muscle Hill to the American National. And no, they said you could race on Winstrol in Illinois. Fine. America, what's his name? Muscle Hill won the American National. Lone Ranger won the free-for-all pace. We sold him as a stud in Indiana, never raced him again. And now he came back to race when he's about 14. Imagine that poor bugger, because he couldn't have his Winstrol. He's a horse. He's not a person. You can't tell him you got to diet differently, exercise differently. He's an animal. And we all know it didn't hurt anybody, and everybody could get it. So it was, if Ray Schnitker wanted Greg Peck, Joe Blow, Trade Martin, Laro, everybody could get it. Now they get the stuff on the street that has no tracer to test. So what do you think, Manny? What do you think of that?
I think I agree with everything you're saying. Everything you say, I agree.
Shame. And now we all know who was in prison. He's bigger now than ever. More horses, breeding horses. I'm not going to say the name, but you probably know. Horses everywhere. Yeah. So everybody knows.
Listen, Dick O'Donnell died. I didn't know he passed away.
Yeah. He died. I'll tell you, when I last saw him, one of the suspensions they gave me, they said I didn't show up for a hearing. So they suspended me. And I was in Florida, scratched the horse at Pocono. So I said, can I go? I'll run over to Freehold and see Richard O'Donnell.
Right. He was my buddy.
But here's what I did, though. I did this. I called Howard Bruno and asked him, could he meet me, before I went, because I didn't want them to say, wait now, you're suspended, so you can't be there. Oh, yeah, I knew that's what they would do. Because technically, you can't be. Howard Bruno came and walked in with me, and Richard used to be the only office he had trade over where the commission was at the end of the day. No, he was over by where the photographer was. So, just after the race office. And I was so happy to see him. So he said, okay, well, let's come and look at it, because I always got along great. He's literally with a walker, and I'm holding his lunch. And the investigator from the commission screaming, you're not supposed to be here, blah, 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 blah. Can you imagine? And there was Richard Walker and me carrying his lunch. And I did give them shit after that. I mean, you said after a while, this is ridiculous. The Meadowlands, they said I touched the locker room attendant. I gave her 100 every time I knew her husband. They lied. The stuff. It's like Larry. I know. I say to people, it's hard to believe, but it's all true. But that's the business. So that's how, that's the business. Muscle Hill, by the way, Muscle Hill helped me the most, but hurt me the most till this day. They're still jealous of that. Why? Why? I wasn't. Dewey cheated, but Hal won the year before. I was very happy that the guy won. I mean, who used to be funny, you didn't meet him, was Mr. Schnitker, Ray's father. He was really funny, because I used to sit with the old man in Kentucky and that. And he says to me one day, he says, can you imagine my idiot son, as he said, like a dad would do, got the best trotter in the world? I said, yeah, he does. He was very nice. Warren Schnitker, that was his father. Very nice man. Yeah. But anyway, that's the business. And now I think they're afraid of HISA. I don't think that HISA is the way to go. I think that we have enough regulation. I think what they'd be better off doing, because listen, there's nobody betting on us anyway. They should privatize the security the same as everybody else did. Manny, if you had a commercial job, you might have to put a security guard on or something, or rent a cop. They should do that. They've got some labs. I'm sure that Big Pharma has, no problem. But it's never going to be that way. Don't get me wrong. There's some really good people that work for the commission, but I can tell you two that are gone that were very good judges. Peter Koch and John Tomasello were very good judges. That's what they were. They're not there anymore. I don't think they want them anymore. They were good judges too. So, but that's life, and that's when I last saw Richard Trade.
Yeah, well, he fell off a bicycle years ago.
That's right. Yeah, he told me.
Yeah. He liked me. He was a buddy of mine. He used to come and see me. Yeah.
You're easy to like.
Thank you.
You know what, Manny? By the way, the investigator from the commission That's only a part-time gig. He's a real estate agent. And I said to him, and this is a couple of years ago, in the height of the real estate market, I said, what would anybody be doing this job on the side for if they were a real estate agent? Please. He must have been a dandy. I go on, but anyway, it is what it is. You know, it's crazy, the whole thing.
I think Larry wants to wrap it up.
I don't care. I'm going to keep him awake.
Larry, can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
Yeah, there you go.
Why didn't you set up harness racing?
There wasn't enough money in Monticello.
No, but you did lots of it
The
though.
last race, once in a while, an exactor or a trifecta in the middle races, but there was no money. It was bullshit.
No, but hang on. You've openly said, when I tease you, you won the ones that you needed to win and you lost the ones you needed to lose because you had to lose ones that were fixed. So there must have been quite a few of them.
Oh yeah. Don't forget, it was probably a 5-year situation. So in 5 years, I developed my own crew up there, and just about every night. And some nights we had to pass because there was some guys in there, like Grundy was in there. He was just a fucking prick. I wouldn't even deal with him. I didn't like him.
Well, no. That'd be like dealing with me in the day. I wouldn't do it either. I would. That's one thing I can say. Where I come from, no, I want to win. I don't care.
No, but
I
Greg,
want to win. Qualifiers, you name it.
Greg,
I want to win.
You misunderstood me. Let me tell you something about Grundy, and I hate to say this because he's dead, but
Grundy,
okay. First of all, he was on the good side. He was the hardest working guy I know. He'd be drunk and sleep for a half hour and then do a full day's work and everything else. But he set up all by himself. He was alone. He'd have the favorites. He would bet with Joe Materano. There was a guy that in the grandstands that he bet with, and he was doing his own thing. The reason I wouldn't bother with him was because the time when we were in a race, we were going to the half. I was in a lot. There were 2 tiers from the beginning of the race because somebody got parked, and right away at the quarter pole, another guy come. So there were 2 tiers, and here I am sitting third on the rail, locked in, going to the half. I'm climbing over horses. Who's alongside of me? Grundy. They had the hub rail back then. I says, Jim, let me out. I'm in trouble here. And the horse is wheezing. You can hear him wheezing, and they're paying. And because it's double tiers, the guy who's got parked now, they're going the next quarter in like 40 seconds. They're walking. And I'm in a lot of trouble. And I says, Jim, let me out. I'm in trouble. And the horse is like that. And he says, just sit there. You'll be all right. I said, Jim, I'm in trouble. Let me out. And he says, just sit right there. 2 steps later, the horse choked down, fell, broke his neck, died. And fuck him. And that's why I
get that. Yeah.
I wouldn't bother with him.
See, that's where, again, I'll say it again.
What?
Larry, that's why I say good idea that we have the pylons now, not the hub rail, and please give them a passing lane. Because imagine, Trade, if you took a couple of Yonkers, okay, and you're in the casino, so you tell them, come on out. You see one in there, you figure Yonkers, you can't lose. So bet $2 to win on it. So they watch it, and they see the guy coming across the finish line like that. They're going to see, I told you they were fixed. It's like wrestling. It's like Billy Popfinger in the movie that time. It looks terrible. And then they'll all fight you. I've talked to Jeff Grell about this. The middle half action, I said, they nothing to do with that. Oh, here's the other thing they don't want them to do. When they're coming off the rail, right? They don't want them to let them drift out. No, keep them locked in, going slow, and somebody climbing over top of them who's bet on the horse who's still live. No, So have no passing lane, make the middle half in a time when we say we want to be kind to the horses. No, race the guts out of them is what you'd have to do. No giving holes, no passing lane, no this, no that. Please, please. It's the same with the holes, Trade. I'm telling you, they'll work themselves out. If you got to listen, watch me whenever I had a live one, nobody got they let me go. That's why the Marcus Miller thing, that's the first time in my lifetime I had a guy do that to me. The first time ever. Because I didn't move unless I had one of the best horses. I was like Larry. Every time I wanted to win, I did. Like you said that.
Where'd you finish in
Larry,
France?
What?
Greg, where'd you finish when you raced in France?
Well, there's a funny one. About 7th, I warmed the horse up, and he felt like an American horse. So I said, I had the rail twice. I'm going to step him out of there. So now they came over, the press, and then the girl that was, the guy that was with him, he drove 2.5 hours. If you leave him, he'll make a break. Cut a long story short, I listened to them, let 2 ahead of me and got locked in. And I mean, charging past the wire. And I get off and I kissed the horse. It was in all the regular French papers and everything. And I told the guy, if you can get this horse back in, he'll win the next time. So about a month later, I call the woman in France that organized. I said, whatever happened to that little horse? Oh, you were right. What? She said he won going for 60,000 euros. He hadn't won a year and a half. So there's another one about telling people how to drive. That's stupid too.
Yeah.
They should have just let me do what I was going to do. I would have stepped him out of there. No problem at all. And he was not a big horse. He was, I don't think he'd be as tall as Muscle Hill. So he'd be maybe 15.2, something like that. But he felt, he just drove along like an American horse would. Yeah, no, he was no problem. Now, some of them are big gated and they're different. The ones that we see at Yonkers and that run in and stuff like that. So anyway, we got to go, Larry. I can see you're tired.
Okay, good night, folks. I'm not even going to do the
Trade.
usual.
Manny, a pleasure.
Manny's gone.
Man, you got me all wound up. I won't be able to sleep now. You got me too wound up. Good night.
Right,
thank you.
Night.
Oh, maybe Ronnie Pierce, Billy O'Donnell
Thanks
next
a lot, guys.
Thursday.
I'll see you next week.
Larry?
Billy O'Donnell and Ronnie Pierce Wednesday.
Next Thursday. So make sure you tell them Tuesday what's going to happen, okay?
I will. Okay, good night, folks.
Good night, guys. Thanks.
Good night, everybody. I'm going to sleep.